Greetings. Whew. Today is March 28th, 2020. I am in New York State, where the vibration is getting higher and higher and higher. And I'm coming on here to give some more updates on some stuff. And I also am going to have Kellie Lee is going to join me as well on this talk, because as usual, greetings Kayla. As usual, I had a dream that I'm going to talk about. Kellie was very kind enough to help me to interpret what was going on, because anytime when I have any dreams, that especially when it's connected to my twin Rondi, it's definitely pertaining to things to do with the collective. I also had the most awesome, I've been getting a lot of awesome contact from others thanking me. Hey, beautiful. You were on the oh my gosh, help me out. The breathing technique thing with Nina, if I'm not mistaken, I think so. So, anyway, I'm gonna be talking with Kellie, waiting for her to come on. I'm gonna be talking with Kellie. We're gonna be sharing some information, because she also received downloads from the dream that I had, and it was connecting to the divine masculine. So I'm just gonna continue. Oh, here she is. I'm gonna continue to oh yes, so you have been okay. I said, oh, I did. Oh yeah, because I was speaking in tongues, and it was so much energy that was processing through me on that oh my gosh, what was it? The gathering that happened with us. So it's really helping me to push through so much ancient stuff. And we're still in that energy also from the ancient times. Like, a lot of stuff is still processing through. But the beautiful thing about what's going on is that a lot of things are happening with our divine masculine based on all of the energy that we're pushing out. So the divine feminine is so important for us to continue. And I'm going to bring Kellie on now, because I'm going to talk about the dream, and I'm also going to talk about what I've been receiving in my own downloads. And Kellie is going to share some of her stuff from what I even had did a reading. I did a reading on one of my with one of my friend client as well. I spent 2 hours on the phone with her, and I was receiving downloads again based on that reading. And I was listening back to some of it, because usually when I'm speaking or reading for anyone, I'm also receiving downloads at the same time, and the messages just keep flowing and flowing and flowing. So I'm also going to, if there's time permitting, with whatever stuff going to come through, because anybody knows me, I'll just keep talking and talking and talking and talking and talking. So I'm going to talk about the dream really quickly, and then I'm going to have Kellie come on, so she's going to share what she also was receiving. And also, what's also fascinating about the dream is the fact that there was a synchronization that came through from my dream, because I was guided to share the dream with her, even without asking her, because I knew something probably more would come from it. So anyway, this happened like around 3:30 p.m. yesterday, because today is the 28th, which yesterday was the 27th when I had the dream, which is a 9 day. So we have 9 and then plus 3 and so on and so forth, because we're getting closer and closer to I feel from what I was told, Venus, which there's always a reason why Spirit has me listening to certain videos, that there is energy that's coming through to do with Venus, and how Venus, which represents the feminine, the mother energy. It's a lot of mother energy that's coming through. And that mother energy is, greetings Brenda, that mother energy is also what is moving in vibration to what we've had to reconcile within ourselves, whether it's the mother that you have been raised by, or someone who's been like a mother to you, the mother that's within you, the mother that's connected to your twin, the mother that you have been, okay? Because, everything starts from the root. A lot of root chakra energy is going through so much upgrades. So I was even having cramping last night. I don't know if any of you ladies, if any ladies on here, if you felt any cramping in your uterus, like you're having a cycle. You might have that happening to you in intervals. So it's like a lot of pulsation, because like what has been told to me through the mother energy is like when a female is about to give birth, the baby's head has to crown right in the vaginal area. And as the baby's crowning in the vaginal area, this is the time where we're pushing out that newer aspect of yourself, the newer aspect of your divine masculine, the newer aspect of how you feel it with that inner child, the newer element of how you want the new earth to feel for you and how you want things to ground for you. Because as we're moving into that energy of how we're transcending into that love and what this love really is, and not attached to all of the what's attached to the old system and all that old data, you will begin to see parts of that split in, you know, the reality of how the new earth is, with the flowers looking brighter and the grass is greener, the soil of the earth is flourishing, and things start to bloom and things start to become brighter in your world. And that's what we're creating. And that's why it's important to keep focused on that reality, keep focused on what you are creating in this new element, because that split between the two realms from one parts of the earth to the next, we're still, you know, in the third dimensional space, but at the same time, we're recreating that quantum level of who you are. Quantum levels, that's where we're taking this. That's where we are right now, at quantum levels. So anyway, I'm going to get to the dream real quick so I can bring Kelly on. So I dreamt that I was like in, it felt like Yard House. I don't know if anybody's been to Yard House. It's like you have a bar setting, plus you can sit down like at a restaurant and have a lot of TV screens all around. They have all different size TV screens. So I was in there, and it was like I was sitting to watch a movie while the bar was like to the side. And when I was looking at the, looking up at the like the TV that looked like we're in a movie theater, and there were people sitting at the bar, what happened is I saw like a whale, and the belly of the whale was standing up, and the belly of the whale was standing up, and I felt like I was in another dimensional space, and I was actually in the Palladians. And so what ended up happening is that my twin's mother, I called her on the phone, and I wanted to check up on her to see how she was doing, you know, based on the C virus going around. And when I called her to see how she was doing, she mentions to me, no, she didn't say anything to me. And she called me by another person's name. And I said, no, that's not who this is. I said, this is Sharon. And so she said, Sharon. I said, yeah, this is Sharon. I said, I know you wanting to know about me, or something like that I said in the dream. And so anyway, we hung up the phone. And next thing you know, she comes into the bar, the restaurant where I was. And I was like, how did she know to find me there? How did she know? That's interesting. And so she sat down, and she looked like the Oracle from the Matrix. That's exactly who she looked like. She sat down, and when I looked at her, the silhouette of her body, how she was sitting in front of me, she had, her hair was red, and it was like a silhouette of red and blonde. Just like how my hair had, I didn't plan it, when my hair got dyed blonde and red right around my birthday when I took those pictures. So it wasn't because I planned for my hair to look that color, but I knew that it was something spiritual that was going on, because it was like I was acclimating into who I am and how I connect to that lioness energy. And so she turned around and she looked at me, she shook my hands, and I said, oh, you remembered me? I said, because I'm the one that's Sharon. That's what I said. And I felt this essence in the dream, like as if she was looking for me, or she was looking to find out about me, and she found me. Where it was an interconnection between myself and Rondi. And so, you know, the interesting thing about it is that the derivative of my name is Sharon, and my twin's name is Ron D, and then my other divine masculine, his brother's name is Ron. So there's this interconnectedness of the name Ron. And what's interesting about this whole thing is that I felt something feel like an acceptance, and also it felt like because there's a lot of attachment with a lot of divine masculine when it comes to what their mothers may say, how their mothers may feel, what their mothers say, because there's an age gap between myself and the both of them. And even though there wasn't an issue to do with our age, there's still some things that we hold on to because we're always looking for approval. We always look, sometimes we're looking for validation when it comes to our journey, and validations when it comes to who we're connected to and all that stuff. So anyway, I'm going to bring Kellie on because there's more things that I know I'm leaving out from the dream, but I wanted to just start to talk about it and how this is relating to another layer of what is releasing through the divine masculine, because I've been feeling, based on the reading that I did, because there's so much information coming in, so much within the past 24 to 48 hours is incredible. And what I felt, this cocoon stage, like a cocoon energy of where they are having to sit with themselves and work through the layers of things that have held them back. And it relates to family, the generational lines, everything that's going on to do with the C virus. Everything's just pushing and propelling with them becoming stronger within themselves and empowered within themselves. Because when I did look up the dream to do with whales, it was indicating to do with speaking up, being empowered, feeling empowered, and what empowerment means. And it was also a spiritual message. And whales is also representing a spiritual totem. What are the chances that I send the dream for Kellie to listen to it, which is about 10 minutes, and the dream ended at 4:44 when I finished recording it. And then she sends me a picture of her cousin drawing a picture of a whale standing up. Okay, so there's no coincidences out there with anything. So I'm going to bring her on right now as we continue to discuss this and talk about this. Okay, Kellie, I'm bringing you. Can you hear me? Okay, here we go.
Hello.
Hi. Hello. Greetings.
How's it going?
How's it going? I'm here at 12:54 a.m. You know me already.
What time is it there? 12:54.
12:54 a.m. What time is it there where you're at? Kellie is in Australia, so she's on the other side of the world. So I know many of us are in different.
I don't know.
Right? Well, I need 15 hours. I know you're 15 hours ahead. That I do know.
I think I have to go out of this. I don't mean to have that filter on. How do I get
What is that? Oh, headphones?
No,
That's
no,
headphones?
no. It's like a funny filter on. No.
Oh, aliens. That's the aliens. They're letting us know that they're here. The galactic family is letting us know that they're here. See? That's
I'm
right.
Get rid of it now. I don't know if that's another one, but that'll do.
Yeah, I'm putting you on the beat so I can hear, because I know how quietly, because you know I talk loud already, right? I can imagine when you listen to my voice messages, you have the phone, it's like, oh my God, that's so loud. Because the kids get on me with that, but I don't give a flying fuck, because I'm going to still say what I got to say, and I'm going to say it loud.
I know. I was hoping you'd have the music playing. I'm like, she hasn't got the music playing today.
You said I don't, or I do?
I don't hear the music.
Oh, I do. I have it on. I'm going to have it on because, I'm pushing through all the energy with what I got to say, and I got all the music playing in the background. Oh, yes, I do.
I can't hear it. I can't hear it.
You can't hear it?
No,
okay.
To kind of jig out and do a dance. But
You're going to... I did. I sure did. I'm playing some... Here it is. I'm playing Cocoa Tea. This is my Sharon's Lovers Rock. I've been playing a lot of my music for the past week. My music's on my playlist, all the different music on my playlist, and this one is Sharon's Lovers Rock's Favorites. See?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This one has thousands of songs. I have so much music on here. It's just delightful. I just love it. That's right. Because homie don't play that. Gotta play the music, so I balance out the energy. Because guess what? We're pushing through the new earth, and that means that all the little stuff that's still lingering behind, we as the divine feminine is pushing it through, like I was talking about how we're crowning through our vaginas, and this is where pussy power really comes in. I'm keeping it real. This is where it really comes in with what we're pushing out. When I say that, the kids are like, oh God. That's where it comes in. That's where it comes in. It doesn't matter if you've ever had a child before or ever given birth before, because we're pushing through and we're grounding and we're holding that space for what must come forth, and that's it. That's
Yeah,
it. Bottom line. Right?
yeah,
So you heard what
we
I was
are.
talking about to do with the dream. I don't know if I left anything out because I know everything's just, we're so excited, you know? Woo, we're so
Yeah, well, I
excited, all
just
these
said, yeah,
messages. Hmm?
I know this morning, and I was just, yeah, I was out in the backyard. It's a beautiful sunny day here, blue sky. I was just out on the grass, soaking up the sun. It was just beautiful, and listening. And then as I was replying, it was just coming through. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's what happened, which usually happens
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah. Yeah. And we never know what's gonna come through, and especially with the synchronicities and stuff like that. So I was in the
Yeah,
mid. Well, you could go ahead and talk because I'm gonna look back up again what I found out to do with the whales, because obviously there's energy that's connecting all of us to that timeline, not only especially with Atlantis but Lemuria, because Lemuria was where many of us had emanated from as divine feminine, and there was a time in history where the divine masculine pulled away from his feminine counterpart or the feminine principle, whether or not we were in a male body or a female body. And so many of us had stood our grounds, which I know I was one of them. I was not going to turn away. I was going to stay in my position of who I am. And so it makes me feel like, also based on the dream, because when I saw the whale, even though it was in the feminine expression of my twin, I stood there and I felt like I was in such strength, and I was also coming in with that support system through the Palladians as well. The Palladians is linked very much to the time of Atlantis, that I do know. And the energy of water, the principles of the mermaid and the merman also, I feel that, and how do we give birth? Always through the water, right? We need some type of water, to push the
yeah,
baby out, and otherwise we look like
yeah.
a dried up tomato. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I
Oh
know.
my God.
Um,
Hmm.
I can still hear you, but you're a bit fuzzy. I don't know if it's your Wi-Fi or
Really?
mine.
No, it's
Yeah.
yours because you're clear. On my end, you're clear.
Ah,
I know
I can
there's a
hear
lot
you.
of people been having Wi-Fi issues. So there are some who've
Yeah,
been having Wi-Fi issues. Hmm.
yeah. Well, mine
Yeah.
has been here. It's been going on in and out, on and off for days. So that could be what it is.
Right,
Yeah,
right. Well, because
yeah,
there's a lot of people that are on the internet,
yeah,
they're on
yeah.
the internet, and so they're seeking information and so on and so forth. And also, I'm buffering. Oh, someone says I'm buffering. Alejandro says I'm
Oh,
buffering.
so it's you.
Interesting.
Oh, yeah, buffering, dear Sharon. It is you.
It's still buffering?
Yeah, I just
Wow,
saw.
that means there's some
I just see
energy.
that
There must be
Sharon is
some
buffering.
energy coming through.
Yeah,
Because I see myself clear. That's interesting. Huh.
yeah. I could still hear you, but yeah, you're just buffering, as they
Oh,
say.
wow. And I could see
Yeah.
myself clear. There's nothing buffering with me.
Ah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, both of us are,
Wow.
it says.
Oh,
Oh,
Paris.
Paris
Hey,
is saying,
Paris.
hey, gorgeous.
Oh, she says
She
both of
said
us is
both
buffering.
of you are.
Well,
Oh.
probably,
It's
if
that
anyone sees
energy.
us, it probably go in and
Woohoo!
come out. You know what I think of when I think of buffering? I think of the fact that we are regenerating right now together, okay? It is a regeneration of energy. That's what I
Yes.
believe and I know
Yeah.
to be true. Hmm. Sometimes
Apparently,
you have to
I
just
can
spice it up.
really.
Huh?
That was
Okay, Steven. Hey,
Brenner.
Steven. He
Is
says
that your name,
we're good
Brenner?
on his
Brenner?
end. Paris said she could hear
Okay.
us clearly. Yeah.
Yeah, Paris can still hear it.
So, oh yeah, I forgot I was looking up.
Yeah.
What does it mean to dream of seeing? Oh yeah, so we're talking about the whales, right? And how it's linked
Okay.
to Lemuria,
Yeah.
um
And
that time in
So,
that timeline where the masculine turned away from the feminine. So we all know that.
yeah,
We all know, whoever's listening, whoever has been hearing a lot of, the videos I've been putting out there back to back to back, because there's so much power, powerful messages and energy flowing through me, because we're at a critical point right now, critical junction, however you want to say. We're at that power point of such a huge beginning of this cosmic center of who we are. And Kellie is she's Aries. Her sun is in Aries, and her rising is in Libra, and her twin, I think, is his sun in Libra and his rising in Aries. Her birthday is coming up, which is 4/4, and that's a very powerful number also that's flowing through, that represents the cornerstones, the quadrants, everything that comes together energetically, cosmically, and also inner and outer balance. So because, I said the dream ended at 4/4/4, and no coincidence that her cousin drew a picture of the whale standing up. And I know, and it was the picture. Do you have a pic? Are you able to hold it up, Kellie? From your phone or anything? Can't hear you. Huh? You went quiet. I can't hear you. Can't hear you at all. Can anyone hear Kellie? Because I can't hear her again.
yeah.
Or did it freeze? Oh, I hear you now. Yeah, I was saying, do you have anything that you can show the picture of the whale standing up? Do you have any way that you could do that? I lost you again. I can't hear you.
Phone. It's on my phone.
It's the Wi-Fi? Is it buffering still? Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me, or you can't hear Kellie either? I'm drinking tea, and I'm drinking my lemon rum and honey. Maybe you should go out and come back in, Kellie. Can you do that? Okay, see, Paris can hear me, but no one can hear you. So come out and go back in. I can't hear. No one can hear you. Can't hear you, Kellie.
It's on.
Okay, so I'm gonna wait for her to come back. Play like a music after she come back. Tune in. Yep. Tune into this new vibration. All the daughters. You hear what it said? Daughters, all the females. Everything's on purpose. The music at the timing that it plays and the words that come with it and where we're pushing through at this time. Yeah, I'm waiting for Kellie to come back on again. So I can get her to bring in her her stance on the dream that I had, because she had some downloads that came in from her listening to the dream. Okay, I'm gonna bring her back on now. Okay, here we go. Scooby-Doo, dop doo. Rubber dog. Okay, here she comes.
Hello.
Okay. I can hear you now.
Hello.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
You're having a dance.
She said she over there having a dance party. That's right. That was the
yes,
message. That was the message.
Yeah,
I kept hearing for days. To dance and dance and to dance. That's what Spirit say. Dance.
I'm actually having a dance.
Huh? It's like you're going in and out, Kellie. Hey, Kiki.
Hey, hey
What's
guys.
up, Kiki girl?
Hi.
So you know, gonna bring you some Southern in here too, right? See, I'm representing all the divine feminine, all the accents in here. That's right. I can even speak a little Australian, no British. Because I always say, how can you just mix up British and
No.
Australian? It's like, who cares? Shut up. Woo, it's buffering with you now. It's a lot of energy pulsating in it. You said always, right? Woo! Can you hear me, Kellie? He loves me now. Ooh, Divine Masculine saying, she loves me now. That's all I keep receiving, so many messages of love. Yeah, I was saying, Kellie, can you find that picture that you sent to me?
Bugger.
So while she's getting situated, I'm gonna look up what and talk about what the dream was saying to do with the whale and myself. Too many. Yes, a lot of energy flowing with the divine feminine, right? Like we're not playing this. We're just like crowning through, bringing through this power. That's right. She loves me now. So the other thing too that I was getting from the dream as well is because that blackness, that energy of the black mother, because she was still coming through as the black mother, as the oracle, just like the Matrix, where she's in her position of power. And what's interesting was that Mary has sent me a woman. And this older woman, oh my God, Kellie got popped out again. I'll wait to see if she comes back on. And this representation of the older woman, she sent me the picture just last night, and she had her legs open, and she was older, and then something was flowing through from her, like a light was shining around it. And and then there was another version of the feminine was coming through that was reborn. Okay, so I was even saying to her, I remember when, you know, because usually what happens with spirit is that they will just send me all these pictures and stuff like that gives me like confirmation to the messages. And so the messages that I was hearing back then, you know, when I was getting all these photos coming to me, had to do with a picture of like being outdoors in nature. And there's this opening space that looks like a vagina. And then all these people are walking out of the cave, which has the hair that represents the vagina, right? And you know, when I say vagina, that's like, hey, that's such a proper way. But when you say pussy power, that's stronger. It's intoxicating and it's exotic, you know, very exotic. And so the people are walking out who Mother Earth is giving birth to. And then you have the newer, the ones that are meant to leave that are leaving. So there's a lot of energy of everything that is connecting to do with, like I said, some of you, if you're in a female body and you might be feeling more of this vibration and pulsation that's moving through from your uterus, your vagina, all the parts of yourself that's related to your sexual organ, you might be feeling like you want to push. You might be feeling like, you know, like that energy, just like when you're in sexual energy, and all of this pulsation is happening on the planet, and you will start to feel. I know, like, you know that, you know, I have 5 these kids, 5 of them, and I remember what it was like when I was going into labor. And when you're having a menstrual cycle, like cramping, it radiates just right in the womb space, just right here. But when you're getting ready to give birth and you're in labor, the pain is going to radiate all in your back, you see? And that's where I was feeling it all in my back and my front and everything like that, you know? And I know, like, when I started out having a cycle, I had a lot of cramps, and it was, oh my gosh, it was really something. So the appearance of the whale in the dream. Okay, I was asking, is there a way you could show the picture of the whale with what your cousin sent you? Or can you ask Paris to send it to you? Do you have another, like your laptop or something, you can show the picture by any chance?
Yeah.
You do?
Yes.
Okay.
Is Paris still on?
I don't even know. Paris, are you on? Paris, you on? Paris. I don't. You can't message her because you're on your phone, right?
I'll
I had the WhatsApp open on the bloody computer and it just exited out.
I'll go out and I'll send it to my laptop.
Yeah.
My email.
I wish I had known to print it out, but yeah, if there's a way you could get to show it, because it'd be nice. So
yeah, I'll do
you can
that.
see the visual of it while I'm talking about the dream to do with the whales. So in and of itself, the whale in the dream was way bigger than the average whale that we're used to seeing at amusement parks or pictures. So because they always tell me everything on the other side is more expanded, is bigger. There's a greater expression of how the animals and species is on the other side. Things are magnified, okay? So when I dream about whales, because I even had a dream about, okay? And these, oh gosh, Kelly got bumped out again. So the whale in and of itself is bigger on the other side because we're it's like being in another dimensional space with the whale. And there's communication that's coming through with the whale, the water, the energy of the water and how it connects to us and how we're giving birth. So when I look up the appearance of the whale in the dream, it signifies everything will be okay and is related to spiritual matters of the mind and the heart. And isn't that what we're doing? We're balancing out so much from the mind and the heart, how we're thinking on things during this time of what's happening. I don't want to just keep labeling it the thing virus, but just that we know that everything is a representation of change right now. And so it's how we're reprogramming the mindset, the thoughts, and and how things are showing up, how we're responding differently, how we're also bringing things from a higher point of view to what's occurring, coming back into the heart center and knowing that this is all bringing us back to our hearts and how we connect to one another, the oneness, the unity, consciousness, it's all of this put together. So it says here that whales tend to appear during times of relevance when you're currently facing issues in your life. At times, it says whales may also represent power, leadership, and strength, which is so true because that's exactly how I felt in the dream when I was sitting in the chair. And I was like, wow, I felt powerful within myself. And I had this feeling within me that, again, full disclosure, because the veil is so thin now, everything is being disclosed. So things are going to be coming out more when it comes to your connection. So if you felt like, oh, my twin doesn't really have anyone know about our relationship or our connection, or they're hiding things, or they're afraid to speak up, afraid to acknowledge the connection with themselves or others around them, everything is coming out full disclosure. Everything is coming through because Mother Earth is just increasing in volume and in speaking. You're going to feel yourself pulling, like it's just going to pull out of you whether you think you're going to say or do something or not. And so any fears that you think you may have is going to come out now more than ever. Okay, and this is happening with everyone because everyone is connected to or embodied more of or is in a frequency of connecting to this feminine principle, the voice of the feminine principle, the power that's emanating through her, and what it means very, very significantly during this time. And when I was talking to Keandra last night, and I was saying to her, I said, you know what it's like when you try to take a child and lock them up in a room. And when you lock them up in the room and you say, like, the first day, they're like, oh, man, why? And then the next day, they start to get uncomfortable. The next day, they get more antsy. The next day, they might start to feel paranoid. The next day, they might start to get angry, irritated, fits. So that's sort of what Spirit was showing me was going on with the Divine Masculine, okay? Everything that had occurred with the Divine Feminine from years ago, from the time, whether it's a year, 6 months, 2 years, however, what time frame it has been, we've had to go through our purging. We had to go through our purging process. You feel the pain right in your gut. You feel like your heart tearing out, the heart palpitations, the headaches, the triggers, feeling so abandoned and let down. Okay. And now it's like the pendulum, which I always talk about the pendulum, how things swing, everything by right of consciousness, and also how things come into balance. It has to come back to itself. And that means that the energy itself that had to look at itself from the viewpoint of all the beliefs and stuff that's had to break down, the pendulum is swinging over now to the master side now, where they're facing their own darkness, their own shadow, anything that has them feeling disempowered, anything that's had them feeling like they couldn't speak up, or the programming of what relationship was supposed to be like for them, and so on and so forth. And as they are shifting through and releasing all those layers, what happened is it's scary and it's in an unknown type of space. So one of the things that Spirit brought to my attention, okay, this is because of what I was talking to Kendra, is these pockets of energy that's in different regions of the world, okay? And these pockets of energy, however they show up, because people who are in the physical body carry pockets of energy. They carry energy from previous lifetimes and this lifetime. They also carry certain genetic things that are connected to the mother energy, the patriarchy, pain, all of these things from past times. And so think about all it, like I'll give you an example of all these people that embody some energy, okay, that's connected to your union path, your sacred path, your own template. And one person leaves that carries a template and energy of feeling dishonored, okay? And it could have been something feeling dishonored in the feminine body, okay? Whether from pregnancy or loss, pregnancy loss, or things that have happened to do with the womb space, the womb center, okay? And when this happens, it frees up a space from when that person transitions. If that person is transitioning, or that person represents something that has left, and you can feel when someone has transitioned or is getting ready to transition, because you feel something has released, something has freed up somehow. And each time something has freed up, it's also bringing something closer and closer to you in your own harmony, and also in your own energy field of what comes together between you, for you and your beloved. Now, one of the things that I also want to mention, because I was just waiting on Kellie, because as I'm hearing it, I have to speak it out, because this is something that is come through to what is in the subconscious mind, that is important for those who are on their twin soul path, the true twins. You know who you are. Remember that this is bigger than you. This is bigger than you. We're at that time of this greatness right now. We're at that time of what's coming into that manifestation, what is being manifested, and you are being supported by the divine, okay? You're supported by the divine. So as these pockets of energy is clearing, it depends on what region you're at, where you're at. If you've been guided to move and go someplace else, there's a reason, because you're being pushed to clear something energetically, even if you're not consciously aware of it. It's all within your energetic auric field that's right there within your body. It's outside of you, it's inside of you, it's behind you, it's in front of you. And this energy itself and what's coming together is what's creating the new sacred geometric codes that is creating these newer grid timelines. These newer grid timelines, okay? So each area where you are, because like where I live in the States, we go by states, county, city, and then we have the country, right? And where Kellie is, they go by, I believe it's states, right, Kellie?
Yeah.
So there's a certain number of twins that is holding a frequency and an energy of which ones that are coming into union, that's holding that space for the next set that's coming in, and the next set. And the way they show it to me, that every time a soul leaves the planet, okay, this is different now, because before we say, oh, but there's people who's left the planet and they come right back in again, or they come back, usually every 100 years. This time, as they leave, there's a pocket of energy that's leaving, and it's spiraling like in a multi-dimensional way. And each time it's freeing up that energy, it's also bringing in something to come closer into harmony from what has been released. And it's connected to both sides of the coin, both families, okay? The two experiences that have occurred. If one twin experienced one thing in one dimensional place, the other one in another, then that already has come together into its own understanding, right? And wisdom. And then as it comes together, because you are in awareness of what you are processing through, each twin, because I've done so many readings on twins, carry a specific template of what they're mastering, okay? For me, I'll give you my own example. I've had to master through my connection to people. I'm an Aquarius. I deal with people. I connect to others. I love people. I love them. But I was dishonoring myself so much. So I had to be mastering myself through my own feelings and emotions to how I connect to people and how it felt like a disruption or a disruptiveness with myself and my beloved. So if you can feel into what part of yourself to work through that healing, that pocket of energy in and of itself is what you are breaking down or have broken down, and now time this reset. Me, I've been tied to structures, government, because it always felt like an opposition with government and light company and all that stuff. You know, I'm the revolutionary. But at the same time, I sacrificed myself and I sacrificed my love and that love center. And that's why I had to come back to it. And in the meantime, I released all of that old cycle of how I felt and where it has taken me. So that's why it's important to be mindful of any fears or feeling in getting into the conspiracy things constantly, day in, day in, day out. You see what I'm saying? And being in that true power means that you're remaining authentic, which means you're keeping it real. You're speaking louder and in volumes. Every pocket of energy that has come up, like you say, against you, it's important to look at it and say something if it's time to say something now, because that's what eradicates that energy that has been holding so much back for humanity. And every twin who's in their true power that knows who they are, this is the time that we are now grounding. It's not just in the air now, we're grounding. And we're getting support through the Palladians. We're getting support. It's not just coming through. It's getting support. And that empowerment of the whale in and of itself, it felt masculine. It felt like Kellie was talking about, that she felt that it was myself as my masculine, but in my feminine form or something to that extent. So I'm going to let Kellie talk now. She's back on, so that way she'll be able to share what she was getting. Pardon me? Yeah, everything. Anything that you were picking up on and what you were talking about to me. Yes.
Well, the whale. You wanted me to show you the whale.
Oh, yes, that's right. Sorry. Yes. Please, if you can show the picture of the whale.
I hope you can see it.
It's the way how it is, how her cousin drew it, that's how it was. It was standing straight up in the dream, but the belly of the whale was showing up in the dream.
Can you see it?
I can see it. Can everyone see it? Can everyone see the whale?
Oh, I might have got a bit. Oh, hang on, my screen's gone off. Hang on, I'm going to turn the light up more.
Yeah, Stephen says he sees it.
The light, so you can see it now.
Yes, they can see it.
Yeah. So that's it there, standing right up. See? So it's quite a beautiful picture.
I just want to interrupt just for one moment, okay? Please. This is one of my mother's favorite songs, and it's just so, oh, I hope you can hear it. Wait.
I can't hear it. Can you turn it up?
Hear it?
I like the music.
Turn it up. It's a country song, it's over there sang it in reggae. And so she's just telling me to remember all that love. Someone loves you, honey. No matter what.
I hope everyone on here is having a dance.
Someone loves you, honey, more than anything in the world.
I don't know the word.
love more than anything in the world. Singing and dancing, bringing it all through. Yes. Yeah, that country coming up in here. I wanna share our life. Every minute, every day. And I want you to know you. And wherever you go, remember someone loves you, honey. Ooh, yeah. No matter what, just be my guy. Someone loves you, honey. More than anything in the world. More than anything in the world. And you know, people think that Jamaicans that we only listen to reggae, but we also listen to some country music too, I tell you. That's right. Lots of country music. See, that's a combination of reggae and country. We blended everything together. Hip hop, country, and reggae. You know, we have to lighten up things, you know. Woo, gotta laugh. Yes, Kellie. You have the floor, madame.
Well, what did you want to know? I mean, like...
Just to tell everyone what you were mentioning to do with the divine masculine, what you got from the dream when you listened to it from your perspective. Yes.
So Sharon had sent me, as you know, what she got in her dream. And as I was listening to it, I was just receiving all these messages through. So the main messages were, because again, I get a lot of stuff and then I speak it out and then it goes. And like you, I don't always remember exactly how it was said, unless I'm recording it or I've recorded it to you, which I have now, you know, but, which is good because then I can go back and listen to it if I need to. But it was all about, as you've already discussed, talking about the dream and the mother connection. And when you were talking about that, I was obviously, as you know, I was explaining to Sharon what I was getting about her dream with her beloveds and the mother, etc. And with that just came a whole lot of messages regarding the masculine, that and it's all of it was specific to twins, it was specific to the beloveds, and it was regarding how everything just felt so cleared and pushed out of the way now for them in terms of their connection that had been holding them back, either hiding the connection to their divine feminine from their mother, their parents, their family members. I was getting more family, not so much friends. And it was anyone that's sort of, you know, particularly masculine, because they tend to have that connection with the mother figure, with their mother, more so than the father. So, but it was just really, so it was mainly the mother, but it was kind of the, you know, family too. So wherever the masculine in general have held back, gone into resistance, not wanted to share this with family or mother, you know, roles because of just, you know, worrying about upsetting them or wanting that validation, or, you know, not putting themselves first because
judgment
just the judgment, and like, oh, she may not like this, you know, my mother may not like this, or my father or my family might think this, or whatever the situation is. And what they showed me, and I wasn't even thinking about this just all flowed in, as I said, when I was listening to Sharon's dream message. And so they were really specific on telling me how the divine masculine had really moved beyond that now. And there was this huge clearing with the shifts in all these energies where they were stepping into what they want now, as in they were releasing any worry around that, any worry about hiding it anymore, about someone finding out, about not because it wasn't so much about their divine feminine, it was about them. It was about them having now stepped into what they want, what lights them up, what they feel in their heart, and they've been suppressing their feelings, and not sharing them. And it was that's what they said too, that in lots of times the divine masculine have chosen maybe another person over their divine feminine, thinking, oh, yes, well, look, I'll just go this way. Remember I said that in there, I channeled that through.
Yes.
They said they'd sort of gone, oh, well, look, to not rock the boat type thing, and oh, look, this will do, and I think I can be happy over here with this person, and yes, it might not be exactly the same as my divine connection, but hey, this will be all right. And then they might have been doing that for a length of time, and or doing it with a relationship or with a job or a situation,
and also seeking approval because the fear of what the family, the mother is going to say, or and so on and so forth.
Yes, yeah, I'm just plugging the battery. Yeah, so that's exactly.
Oh, greetings, Tavon. Tavon is saying hi.
Tavon's
you hear Kelly?
Oh, hi.
He left out the I.
The E.
The E, I mean. Oh my gosh, beg your pardon.
Yeah, and it was that. It was like all those things that they had worried about and held back through judgment, through, even upsetting the mother figure or the family, or how's this going to work, or, so it was kind of, in a way, they've resisted it, or, gone another way. I don't want to use the term run away from that, but they've kind of gone another way instead of, hitting that head on. And of course, that obviously we've all, the feminine has also done things like that as well, in different ways. But this was just a message from them about the masculine, and that I was getting through because of your dream. So so they were saying that with everything that's happened, they've kind of stepped into that energy now of like, to hell with it, but like, I don't care anymore. It was just like,
and you know why? You know why? Because I want everyone to understand why they're in that energy, not just necessarily because of what's showing in the physical world, but how we are coming into that greater power within ourselves by, thank you, darling, when we're speaking out. See, that speaking out energy, that force that's emanating from your solar plexus, and that power itself is coming to push out the fears, the blocks, the inhibitions, and of course, twins, we are the ones that created the seed thing. Hello. We created it because this was what we waited for. This is what we asked the divine to step in, as we are now. It's time to start embarking and planting for the new earth, and that everyone comes into their rightful place. And it's like the dream was telling me to, with the oracle, it's like, you remember when Neo, I hope you saw The Matrix, right? He was telling me he saw The Matrix.
I have still not seen The Matrix.
Oh my God! How could you? Anyway, one day when you see The Matrix, you remember me saying this part. When Neo was told he was the one, he didn't know he was the one until he had to find himself and recognize himself as being the one. So when he went before the oracle, all he was getting was riddles, and stuff like that. And so he had to come to his own self-realization of being the one, okay? And if you remember, he also had to choose, or he was told he was going to have to choose between love and the collective and Trinity. Do you see what I'm saying? And he chose both. He chose love, and he chose to save everyone, okay? Because the architect told him, there's no way you're going to be doing the same thing we were doing before, and you're going to do it again, and you come back again, and I hope you're laughing, because we got to laugh with things. And so he decided, it was the second installment, it was when he knew he was the one, and he tread forth. If you're laughing because because I'm remembering the movie And he was before the architect. It was like a stick board. It was like the TVs. Oh God, Kelly got kicked out again. There's a lot of energy on this. Yes, there is. Oh boy, we are really templating this inner power of who we are as the whales, because we were whales as well. You see, everything that we connect to in the dream state, the animals, that's ourselves, that's us, you know, and it's that part of ourselves. And so I think of the masculine whale and the purpose that the whale serves for us and who we are. And so Randy's mother represented the oracle to me. So that's more than one time that she's come to me, her higher self. And I recognize that our connection, who she is as my mother as well. So her mother, you know, my twin's mother is also my mother. Okay. And her energy, and even though I've never physically met her, her personality, I said it in the is so same to my mother. Was a very, when you look at me and you hear me, how I talk, you would think my mother was the same. No, my mother was very different. She was outspoken in a different way. So my mother has such wisdom, and she was quiet, like very quiet, my mother was. But when she was ready to roar, she would roar. And when I think back and remember all the things that my mother taught me, told me, everything, and I used to be something like, oh my God, here she go again. Oh, here's another line, here's another this. But now in hindsight, I was like, wow, my mother was really the oracle for me as well. And anyone who doesn't know me, I had the most awesome relationship with my mom. She is my best friend. She still is, no matter where she is, whatever side of the spectrum. And still, the same distortions that occurred within the mother frequency is what we go back to. You know, when they say, go back to where you came from, we got to start from the beginning. We got to get back to the root cause. We got to get back to the root of where things started, which was from the mother. Okay? And as we go back, it's almost like you're pushing, you know, like if you hear some mother say, you know what? I brought you into this world. I'll take you out. I'll push you back up where you came from. I'll take you out, you know, whichever way, you know. But, you know, black mamas kind of do it differently, Kelly. You know, black mamas, we be like, spray, punch. See, I still have my spray. It works. It's magical. Oh my gosh.
Can I just say,
sure.
Can I just say one thing while I remember?
Yes.
Adding on to what I was saying before with the masculine.
Yes.
Is what they were showing me is that, which I thought was really beautiful, is that they had finally had enough of being suppressed and feeling suppressed and not and like, oh, I can't speak up type thing, because it was almost like a people pleasing energy with the mother or family that, oh, you know, that I've got to be a certain way, or I've got to conform a certain way, or you know, it might surprise them too much, but it was definitely, you know, coming into the energy of, no matter what, like I said to you, they had realized who they were, or who they are in their divine spirit, their path, their assignment that they're here for, just the love, you know, in itself, you know, just that love and to be with that person. And that is kind of taking precedence over any of that other type of low vibrational fear and around those energies. And it's kind of, it's like go time now. It's like, you know, that's okay. And it was a bit of an energy of like, well, it was an energy of, that's okay. If this person is not going to take it well, or if they're not going to agree or approve, doesn't matter. That's too bad. You know, that's kind of their stuff to get over. And it was about them really kind of, stepping into what their heart's desire and, you know, their soul guiding them. So that was all around energy.
Oh, wow. It's getting ready to cut off, but I want to turn back on again, just to let you know.
Oh, yes. Because you've been still on and I'm coming in and out.
Yeah, I know. So I know Keandra, she was asking, are there any ascension symptoms mixing with all this? Yeah, absolutely. Because I was starting to have hot flashes again also yesterday. So anyways, cutting off, and I'll be right back on again.
Okay, we'll come back on.
This is my R&B. This This is my R&B love song playlist. And this song is called Tell Me. Tell me what you wanna do. This is my R&B love song playlist.
We're back on. It's back on. I like the music a bit louder this time. I like the music a bit louder this time.
Oh, you want it a bit louder? You want me to violate the place?
That's what I like about.
You know, actually, there was someone who came through to me with a lovely message, lovely message. And this is someone who transitioned recently. And I know because of all the, you know, all the stuff that's been going on, the attention, you know, just goes in another direction just because, you know. And the one thing that I always do, you know, from the book, The Return of the Garden of Eden, is honor each soul that has come through, that has assisted us, because a lot of these souls that have existed on the planet are really truly helping the twin souls on the planet, because we're the ones that are creating the new earth. And when we were asking about the gosh, I turned it off by accident. When you were asking about me, when I was talking about the helpers, that the light workers are like our helpers. So I think about, you know, Santa Claus and the helpers, and it's like it feels like the light workers are assisting the twins so coming into that union space. So it's
like the twins are the Santas.
Excuse me?
The light work. It's like the twins are the Santas.
Yes. Yes.
That are doing the grid work and all the other work, like the helpers.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, I look at it as that it does take all of us, like how they say it takes a village to raise a child. It's taking all of us, and how many are coming into that union space that is holding it together in that divine light, you see, to prepare for the next pair that comes in. So each one that comes in, that comes together, it's a rejoicing. That's like having a band of 20 billion angels, you see, because we've had to push through so much of this density. You see what I'm saying? And
I was just going to say before too, when you were talking about the mother energy, and when we were talking about the mother more honouring themselves and the mother cutting off too.
Yes.
These energies are finally now complete for the divine feminine mother to be in her power.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you can feel it. Like you literally can feel that transitional phase of what existed before, and you feel at peace. You know what I mean? It really does bring on a peace within you. Even if you don't have the blueprint to what's going to come next, you can feel and know that everything is starting from scratch. Everything is starting from the beginning with something new. You see what I'm saying? Because there's no way we could possibly think that the new earth is just going to come in whoosh in one day and all of a sudden everything is just, no. It has to go through transitional phases. But again, we're at that pinnacle point where twins are coming into their true, full-blown power.
Yeah, and it feels very angelic. So at the moment, seraphim angelic energies are really here helping us, and that it really feels like that's the top of the range, you know, that's that hierarchy, and
Yes.
It feels it, the power I'm talking about.
Yes.
You know, it feels like it.
Yes. 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 And another thing too that had came to me was like a comparison to the movie The Mummy. The divine masculine is moving into it's like an energy of when you're on what do you call it, like it's an unraveling, and then when he had to collect all of the body part, the organs, not the body parts, am I saying, the organs of the body for it to regenerate itself, that each organ that it received, it became empowered, okay, the mummy, and the stronger it became. See, the stronger it became. And so each pocket of energy that leaves the planet, all the souls that leave, and then you're embodying the new code, it empowers the true divine, the sacred masculine. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what that's what's happening. And they just, and it's like you could see their bodies are just moving and getting stronger while they're in that cocoon place.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've not seen that done, but I understand.
Kenny Rogers. Yep, that's what's talking about. Kenny Rogers. I give honor to Kenny Rogers. Beautiful soul. I always loved his songs. I didn't realize how many songs oh my God, I just love music.
Yeah. I know.
You got to count your money. And to roll up. That means you got to know when not to be addicted. And I know that. Never, ever, ever spend the money that you win, okay? I don't care if you win $2. Do not spend that $2 on the next thing you gamble, okay? You use the fresh money. It works. Yep.
Money.
That's right.
Hey.
Yeah. So it's incredible. It's incredible what's coming through. And like for me, I don't know how the next few months is going to look, but I know that I can feel most of the panic starts to dissipate. Okay, some of it starts to dissipate. It starts to move in that energy of what, because remember I said it's like there's that first is the initial reaction to something, and then the next thing is bewilderment, and then the anger with who started this and whose fault is this, and you know what I mean. And one of the things that I get with the divine masculine is that they know that this is divine now. There's no blaming anymore with that part. It's just the acceptance now. Acceptance.
Well, what's happening with the planet at the moment with the sea virus has opened things up so much, and for everyone. But remember, I had this conversation with you when I was getting like weeks ago. Yeah. That even I don't want to just say masculine because it's feminine too. It's everybody, but particularly to shift the masculine. And us that have been in our masculine energy too, it's kind of woken a lot of people up. Like, it's obviously the grand awakening to wake a lot of people up. But it's woken a lot of people up to that. Wow, like, is this like? It's kind of like to show the world shutting down like it is. Nobody in their wildest dreams would have probably thought anything like this could happen.
I didn't even see this coming. No, but I knew something was coming to wake up more like a more massive scale.
Yeah. We knew there was going to be like a Big Bang thing, but we didn't know what.
Yes, the Big Bang. Yes.
Yeah, and actually be physically living in the reality of countries shutting down and borders shutting down and all this stuff going on. It's made people go, wow, like fuck, things really do happen that like out of the ordinary that we don't know. Like this has happened, and it's opened people's eyes and awakened them a lot to different things that can happen way beyond their control.
Yes.
So there's coming this more essence of divine as well, because then they're also in this place of, you know, they go into that place of, oh well, we really don't know how long we've got, or we could, you know, life's short, or this could happen, or that
Taking
could
care of
happen.
their bodies also.
Their bodies, it's brought a it looks like it's disconnected everybody, but what it's actually done is reconnected people back to themselves, and
Yes.
also back to their loved ones.
Yes.
Because,
Yes.
you know, because of the situation. So, and it's brought, even though there's a lot of fear about it, it's actually brought a higher love and togetherness and compassion and kindness and humbleness, and that amongst people, helping other people, doing
Yes.
things, and just, and this is what Spirit showed me, that where the men are concerned again in that, oh well, I'll stay in this rigid job or this rigid relationship, and I'll just, you know, it's kind of going, they're kind of sort of going, no, fuck, I want more than this. Like, we don't know when the world's going to end, or we don't know how long we're going to be here for. It's that type of energy, you know what I mean? So, and that was a big, like, crack open, you know.
Yes. And another thing too, what I'm getting, I haven't heard anyone talk about it as such too, is that I'm hearing Spirit say there's a reset even with the sexual energy, because there's even crimes that have gone down because of this, and that this gives time for both the divine masculine and the divine feminine to heal the sacral chakra, and also to heal the sexual organs of the body, because the energy and the frequency of what's been held back, it's like there's so much things swirling all over the place, but now that reset is also being able to focus on all the parts of the body, and especially that region of the body, because that is where that connection is, from that root there with the pairs.
Yeah.
You see?
Absolutely. You know, because like I said before, in the first video or whatever it was you did, I don't kind of look at masculine, feminine now. I look in myself of a combination of the both, because I'm feeling the energies of both. Does that make sense? Like,
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I can definitely see that. Yeah. Yeah. I know myself, like, just talking about it, you know, it's been a long time since because I just do my own light work and chakra clearing and stuff, but it's been a long time since I listened to anything about the chakras. And this morning I've wanted to listen to the higher, like, is it the 523 or 528 hertz? I forget what it is. And I found this guy that has done all the chakras, you know, like going through the different chakras to really and align. And I just put it on loudspeaker and started doing it this morning from the root chakra up. Well, I never do that, you know what I mean? Like, I used to years ago, but I usually just do my own type of work with it, and then off I go. So it's just being guided, you know, with my higher self, doing different things. When it comes in. So
and sound healing also would help for anyone who wants to know how they can realign their chakras. Sound healing helps a lot, and especially when you are bringing in the energy from your throat, moving it down to your rib cage, and it moves and flows right down from your stomach region, and also to where the uterus is. So even if it's just that also helps to alleviate fears as well. Do you see what I'm saying? Yes, it also releases the fears that you might have, and it also realigns all that parts of yourself that has felt fragmented. See?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and I've been, I think I said to you, you know, I hadn't been asked to do energy work for twins on the collective level for quite a while, and there was a while, I must say, where I'm like, no, I just, you know, I was really working just more on my own energies, and not the do all the time, you know, just the be. And but then about a month ago, when all this started happening, you know, I was guided and asked again just now and then if I would do, you know, spontaneously, if I would do these clearings for twins, and it was around fear. It was removing the last thoughts of fear
Yes.
out of the twins, out of their own fears.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I can see the difference when it happened. Like I was doing it one day and then you didn't know, and then the next day you said something had happened, and I'm like, oh well, you know, kind of it all balances, you know. It's all, like we were talking about before, it's all the sequence.
Yeah, everything's it's synchronizing and balancing out in a like in a rippling type of effect. That's how it feels. Yeah, that's how it feels. Because remember, again, this is where they keep showing me the pockets of energy that is shifting within each and every one of us. And if it involves for you to say something, then you say something. If it doesn't involve for you to do something, then you take that action, you know. And then also coming back to yourself, even while you may stop for a moment and go back into action, to change up the routines. That's very essential. Changing up the routines, letting go of anything that could be structural, where you're just in that nothing space, that void. And there's many parts of yourself that's going to be in a space of void, like nothing, absolutely doing nothing, being still, still. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do that a lot of the time.
Yep.
I just have that full trust and knowing that my full abundance, our full abundance is here, you know, and I anchor that in, and I don't worry about money anymore, or you know, any of that stuff. I just really trust, because we can dance in and out of that realm, you know, for a while. Like we're okay for a while, and then oops, hang on, are we going to have enough money, or or you know, go in and out of the 3D structures, because we are living in it. And so I've really found a lot of shifts for me anyway, that I just none of that, I'm not attached to any of that anymore.
Yeah, and that's the key, is having that detachment, and always getting, not always getting, but always remembering the greater picture. Remembering the greater picture is the key to everything else around you that may seem chaotic, or looking as if it may fall apart. And as things are coming into these new guidelines or new rules, or, you know, almost every day there's something changing. You know, like at the supermarket or something, like, oh, this is another rule. Oh, this is another thing. Oh, this is changing again. And that's how the energies are playing out right now. Nothing is set in stone as much. You see?
It's all over the place.
It's all over the place. Yeah.
I heard today again, now they're saying that you can only get the C virus through saliva. You know, whereas
and then they say now you shouldn't. You might, that the gloves don't work too. Did you hear that one?
That the what? Sorry.
That wearing gloves is not as effective as you think. Yeah. Because you're transferring stuff, right? You know. So that's why I said the key is consciousness. The key to this is consciousness, no matter what. Because remember, this is what I love about spirit, right? Because when I talk about so much about what's unseen, okay, I talk about energy and how I read energy, and energy is something you can't see it, but that's who we are. We are energy, and so much focus has been placed so much on humanity with only what you physically see. So now the panic comes in for some, because they are not allowed themselves to adapt to connecting to energy. All right, you see? So now, though, there's some who may be on a specific level where they do know that everything's going to work out, that they're protected, and there's some who may feel like, well, I'm still going to feel panicky because so many people are getting it now, this younger people now, and whether or not you have symptoms or not. And again, this has to do with each person and their own relationship that they have with the divine, their own relationship that they have with connecting to themselves. Do you see what I'm saying? That's where this comes in. And that, are you paying attention now as you're still, and whether you're still as you're being still, Are you in fear? Are you in trusting? Are you in doubt? What, you know,
Yeah.
where are you in your reality while you're having to be still? Because life and
Exactly.
everything is still moving, but it's moving now where, like I said, even if they were to say by Monday, oh, everybody can go back to work. Oh, everybody can go back to restaurant eating together. Do you really think the masses are going to go out there and go do that? Honestly,
Yeah.
absolutely not, because there are
No.
still things that are up in the air, right? And we're dealing
Yeah.
with so much air and air and air, right? And the mental
Yeah.
space and how one thinks and how one feels, you see?
Yeah.
And there's some who are wishing now that they want to be around people. And how do we do this? Because we're revamping again how we're connecting to one another individually and collectively, right? Now,
Yeah.
there's some of us, of course, that are on platforms that maybe with more people or not. Spirit says the door is opening now for us to start speaking out and to start doing more videos or lives or whatever, because people are looking for greater content and material, that there's more
Yeah.
focus now to understand everything that's happening on so many
Yeah.
levels, you see. So
Yeah.
this is how the door is opening
Yeah.
up for all of these transitional stages that are taking place with the divine masculine, with families, mothers. A lot of mothers who always wanted to work from home and their jobs were just so stringent. No, you can't. Now they're forced to. So it's like all
Yeah.
of these desires are coming, because a lot of mothers, I was one of them. I had a lot of babysitting problems. And I was like,
Yeah.
to heck with this. I said, I might as well work for myself. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So I was
Yeah.
already set within myself to do with that, you know, right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I even said, boy, thank God this did not when my kids were smaller, because I know that it must be more challenging where you don't have that space for yourself when
Yeah.
your children are gone to school. But again, this is about us being able to adapt to change. Like I
Yeah.
was listening to this mother say to another light worker, she was doing a video, and she said, I'm not able to meditate anymore as much because my kids are around. And I said, God, I wish I could answer that for her, because what I say is now you can change where meditate with your children. Meditation doesn't always have to be soft music. Meditation means you could play music and you're dancing and your children are participating with you in your
Yeah.
meditation, participating with your changes. I tell my children everything. I shared the story with my children to do with that twin coming, with her coming into uni. I shared it with them. I told them
Yeah.
we're to bring out the energy into what's happening. It doesn't have to be in the dark anymore. It doesn't have to be
Yeah.
spoken anymore. Do you see what I'm saying? Because
Yeah.
that's what's
Yeah.
creating that newer pocket of how the new earth is grounding with the truth. The truth is the
Yeah.
truth is the truth. It sets
Yeah.
us free. You see? It really
It does.
is. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a lot of, and I was just saying that to my mum last night too, about the good things that are coming out of this in terms of people that are staying home now, that are made to stay home. They might be able to start that, you know, that job from home that they've been trying to do but haven't had time to, or
Yes.
other things that are going to turn into their passion. And
Mm-hmm.
Spirit is leading us on to our path, our divine path in every way, no matter who we are, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's and what our role is here. And so the people that are in these sort of rigid 3D ways of working and to get money, and this is, you know, I can't change my job and all this is helping all of that, you know. And another thing, there's everything that's going down at the moment, and I shared this on my stories, and it's great that people are getting excited and into what's really going down. However, some get fearful when I look at comments that, oh my God, what if that doesn't happen? Or what's going to happen then? We're going to have to go back to this, you know, this shitty 3D matrix. And this is where there's such a higher perspective where people have got to reach to know that it doesn't matter what's playing out down here. You know,
Yes.
this is, or even if someone's fearful, like of getting the virus, well, it doesn't matter, because whatever is happening and playing out for a reason.
Yes.
And the whole divine source, like divine creator,
Yes.
is,
That's right.
is, you know, all the divine realms. They're, you know, it's a whole bigger purpose. It's too much to go into.
Also how we are creating freedom. Okay, freedom to love, freedom to be, because I even talk about in the book what usually happens in families, you know, where the mother is working, you know, or if they're pregnant, that's it's just as much challenging what the body has to go through, and children to take
Yeah.
care of, and then the father's working, or sometimes the parents are working 2, 3 jobs. The children are often having to raise themselves, and there's a
Mm-hmm.
disconnect, and then there's not even as much sexual intimacy with the parents, and then they fall off from each other, and then they create other things to happen. There's also the stress financially that occurs with families. And one of the things too that I talk about, because I'm a radical, is the stuff that have been created that takes away from the working families out there, being taxed for this and taxed for that. So now, because of the C virus, we're not being taxed on certain things. Also, there's 6 months of student loans being, you know, forgiven, or you don't have to pay for it. So think about everything that is eradicating all of the energy that is burdensome and heavy. I
Yeah.
also, not only am I sharing the testimony of the young lady that came into Union, I also will be sharing um, something that was emailed to me to do with the mortgage companies, because I talk about the mortgage companies because it's all a fraud.
Yeah.
And, you know, I say, do
Yeah.
your research. So at this time, if there's anyone out there who is currently, who owns a home and you have a mortgage, okay, so I'm going to speak the truth. And if you're in a position where you feel you're either heading into foreclosure or maybe not even heading into foreclosure, now is the time that a specific paperwork can be filed in the courthouse, wherever you are located in your county. This applies to those in the United States, okay? The divided states. And there's something that you file, and they usually have to respond in 20 days. Now's the time where this can work for you now, because I tried this before. I've gone through this energy. So there's been a whole lot of stuff, but the one thing that I desire is for people to be in their homes. And because it's all a fraud, it's already been paid for. Do your research, okay? It's the time to
Yeah.
to this, because it's wonderful that we're in love, okay? But we don't want to go back to having to go through pain and suffering and strife and all the things that has kept us apart. And this is where you're
Yeah.
standing up for your freedom also, in what you desire and what you have. From what has been taken is now being given back. But you also have to take steps
Yeah.
with that freedom as
Yeah.
well. So there's something that you
Exactly.
can do, and I will be
Yeah.
posting it where you'll be able to see what you can do to get that going, because of course there's hardly anyone around that will be able to respond to anything, and then that is given back to you free and clear. Okay, so I'm into helping others to understand their own personal freedom, and that also means what action you can take towards that freedom, and not being in fear that it's impossible for you to attain things because you're giving your power away to someone else. Okay, so this is also about
Exactly.
taking back your power, because this is also a part of your divine template of what you receive and what you have, not because someone else decides for you. It's because you
Yeah.
make that conscious choice first. There are companies
Yeah.
out there right now that are also working towards paying families, or paying out to them, even if they're not able to go physically to work, to help and to assist these families. Okay, there's companies that
Yeah.
are now working to release that burden that has existed in families with certain things. Okay, so start
Yeah.
focusing within your conscious mind. What would you like to have and to experience in your life that represents freedom for you? This is this pocket of huge energy where the divine is supporting you now, because even with rents, well, no, I wish it was with rents yet, sweetheart, but not yet. But I'm putting it out there too, that we all will be rent free, mortgage free. We're not supposed to be paying for light and gas, and we're not supposed to be paying for water. That is all through planet Earth. And I'm telling you that it's coming back. Everything is returning back to the form of how we are in our freedom, not having to be paying all these high amount of bills. And even though the tricks are played, because I say tricks are for kids, where they say, oh,
Yeah.
we're going to give you this money, but then that money was already there, and you're still taking back from me. Well, you're giving
Yeah.
back to me what you took from me before. Like, really? So there's certain things in the system that you might get a little involved to get back what you need for yourself and your families. And that's just happening by right of consciousness and what comes into that balance karmically from what was taken. Whatever was distributed where others say I have more and you have less, what's coming into balance is where everyone is receiving and having and experiencing everything equally. And that is the new earth that's moving into place, where our foods are not poisoned. Okay, we're not priced and overpriced on things that's ridiculous. Like, I really feel that people who charge exorbitant amount of money, why would you do that at this time? Who's going to pay large amounts of money to someone who overcharges? Would you do that to yourself? So why do it to others? Think and feel into, if I charge this for this person, am I balancing out my own value? And then what that person is also giving, is it worth what they're paying for? This is how you balance out the energy. And this also plays a part in everything that comes together in that union space with one another. You see? That's right.
It does.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It can't be ignored.
I'm just thinking, could it be nice to have a time frame? I know time.
Oh, in terms of what? In terms of what?
When it all finally kind of, you know, goes down and gets to that point, because the structure.
I feel what I'm hearing. Okay, right now Saturn is in Aquarius, so that's the beginning stage already to the new age in Aquarius. Okay, you know, I just love that shit, because everything that is created, destroyed, you know, that's what I represent. I know that for myself as divine feminine, and also as a divine masculine, and also as an Aquarian. And so as each, the next planet I believe that moves into Aquarius, I think, well, okay, Gemini's moving into, no, North Node is going into Gemini in May. And then I know Jupiter is supposed to go into Aquarius by the end of the year. And then there's another planet that goes into Aquarius. I feel it's Pluto. No, Pluto, that's not going to be till 2022. So think about any planet that's going to move into Aquarius is going to represent that change, okay? And that change in of itself is going to be moving through us internally as well as externally, okay? So the Saturn aspect...
2022.
2022 is, I feel that's when they said Pluto goes into Aquarius. If I don't remember, but I think it's like 2 years from now. But I know and feel, when I feel into the energy. Now, one of the key things that they're showing me is the next eclipse, because we're still, remember when I said it to you, I said, oh my God, I forgot that we were still in an, oh no, maybe that was Keandra said that too. We're still in an eclipse cycle. The eclipse that occurred, because one of my videos I said, oh, I remembered I was going through something in early January, and the moon was in Cancer, as well as the eclipse was in Cancer. So we're in a 2-year cycle of eclipse with Cancer. Cancer represents the mother also. Okay, so we're talking about the mother. Cancer is the seed of the soul as well. So that means that the soul has been moving itself through that process of what it's been coming together and mastering ourselves emotionally, okay? And so it's like we're releasing the old energy of how we respond to things emotionally, like how we know what's going on now. We have empathy, but we're not manipulated as much like before. We're coming across with emotional intelligence, right? And and so we're still in the North Node of Cancer, but we're kind of closing out a particular cycle of where we're moving from the old ways of how we respond to things into a new way of how we respond to things emotionally. That's what brings in that greater balance between the twin pairs as well, because there's no attachment to anyone and anything. I'm in my sovereignty, you're in your sovereignty. I'm honoring myself as the mother, I'm honoring myself as the you know, whoever, you know, all the titles that I hold or however, and also as a sovereign soul, a sovereign being. And I'm still in awareness, being in an awareness of yourself from your soul and your individual body. You know what I mean? Having that new relationship with your body, having that relationship with yourself. You know, it's like it's all the multi versions of self is what you're giving honor to with who you are, all the layers of yourself and how it mirrors back, you see, with one another. Exactly. So I do feel like things are still gonna ease up. Um, I would say coming into a much newer feeling in April. Okay, I don't feel necessarily that everybody's going to start collectively coming together, because there's still going to be feelings of fear and distrust. Okay, I'm being honest. It's not going to just be overnight, just like that. Okay, I
Yeah.
do feel
Well,
that. Yeah, I do feel people are going to start responding to one another differently, going to have more empathy with one another. I feel that people are going to connect more to one another, because this C thing also has had to reset how we connect to one another. And that means we're understanding each other's feelings too. Um,
yeah.
but even more so, the re-identification of ourselves. That means that we're not attached to the family bloodlines anymore, or as such.
Yeah.
Okay, like, oh, I gotta identify with this, or I gotta be like this, like how my mother was, or I gotta be like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
Well, pushing people out of their comfort zones, and just that settling energy.
The settling for less. Yes. Yes.
Settling for less, devaluing themselves.
Yes.
That comes from a lack of worthiness, because they don't feel that they deserve
Mm-hmm.
this, that, or the other. And
yes.
So,
and people, or others, I should say, researching and start seeking to know, instead of sitting back and say, oh, let me just take what someone taught me or told me from before, instead of finding out information now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know you and I, we went through that energy pretty much the same time recently, where we just didn't feel like putting a lot of stuff out, because we just felt like it's time now for people to
stop being lazy. Yeah, in that sense, though. Yeah.
And do their own stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because you see that you're reaching people, but you also see these people still living their life. I don't mean you particularly, I just mean us light workers out there. And we see that people, though, might look at our stuff, or read our stuff, or watch our stuff, or whatever it is, or you might physically talk to them, face to face, whatever, and they want all that advice, or they take it on board, but then they still they go back to their life, and they still keep doing the same thing and living the
like
same
walking
way.
around like the Walking Dead is what I call it, and being connected and living unconsciously too, like not living consciously. Like when I did the Instagram story where there are people wearing gloves, and then they're throwing it down on the ground, like common sense, and that's not living consciously, because you're still creating more dirt, and littering on the earth, stemming from something else. So so you're creating those people in the store to have to go clean up after you. It's just absolutely incredible. And it took.
There's a difference between being conscious and living consciously.
Yes. Yeah. And it means that you're in awareness, and that I would think that you would know, hey, let me wash my hands. Let me be conscious. Like, did I touch something? Oh, I need to be conscious to wash my hands anyway. You know what I mean? And to take care of my body, go take a bath. Yep. That's essential. That's basic. And there are people who still just don't take baths, and it comes from cultural stuff with that, religious stuff with that. Okay, and I look and I shake my head and I said, how can one say that if you're not even being conscious of cleaning yourself, especially because there's so much germs out there, that how can you not believe and think that it can contribute to an illness or something to that effect? You know what I mean?
What do you mean take baths? That you mean what do you mean don't take baths?
They do not. You heard me right. There are some cultures and stuff, they do not take a bath. They do not bathe themselves. Okay?
Shower. Is that what you mean? But they don't. Do you mean they take a shower but not?
No. Well, what I mean is they don't bathe at all. None at all. Yeah, they don't bathe, or they bathe every 5 days or something. Okay? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Oh yeah.
I'm thinking, does she think like they don't like having baths? Or
no, some of it is just a cultural appropriate. Oh, they call it. I forgot that word. That's how they culturally do things, and they mask the body odor by wearing perfumes and deodorants instead, and don't take these baths and stuff like that, or they don't wash their hands. You see what I'm saying?
See, that's it, because water cleanses the aura.
I know
So,
that.
yeah, so I'm thinking these cultures, are they, that control energy again.
Oh yeah,
That's told that this is the
absolutely,
way. They're
absolutely.
not.
Yeah. And some of them will wear layers of clothes and may not even wash clothes. So, all of these types of things, like I said, is what is having to be addressed and looked at now and say, is this right? Is this what, because now I don't have a choice. Otherwise, then, you're really actually creating a reality of illness that can come from that. You know what I mean? And that's a part of not being conscious and being programmed into these realities of thinking that that's okay. You know what I mean? But nothing that happens on the outside has not come from the inside, you see? Because a lot of things that happens in that instance too represents cultures that if anything involves spirituality or coming together in a pure space, or there's a different type of the worshiping of the goddess and being near water, being around water and crystals and all these things, that it's considered to be going against the norm, you see? And so everything that has gone into the division and programming, okay, oh no, don't take a bath because then you're not going to be as pure to be with God, stuff like that. Instead of using common sense, hey, if I don't bathe and you're using the toilet, what does that mean for you? You're not clean. You're not clean. So the people allow themselves to be programmed into thinking that's the normalcy, and that is the way to live and to be, and women around the world that also have been dishonored and told and taught that they're not to adorn themselves, and don't do this and don't do that, and if you have your menstrual cycle, then stay away from her, not really understanding the fact that there's power that comes from her having her menstrual cycle while she's having her menstrual cycle, there's power.
Oh, go on, sorry.
No, I'm just saying that there's all of these things again is what's having to change, because here, at least over here, that doesn't happen, but in other countries this still exists. This still exists. Even in the book I talk about circumcisions, circumcisions of the male bodies, circumcisions of the female bodies, and the disappropriation in society and all of that. There's so many things that I've touched on to do with this. And still, there's something for humanity to understand about the circumcision of the heart, and how about looking into where your heart lies with things instead of what is constructed from religion and religious structures that say, oh, do this all in the name of religion. And this is the way to go to God, and we're going to break bread and drink wine, and we're going to do this and that, and all these all different stuff, and just losing sight of what is the true connection. You see, even the churches, people are, they say that they're giving the churches the opportunity if they still want to be together. And there's some people that are still doing it, because that part, again, yes, you do protect yourself from consciousness, but there's also something called common fucking sense. If you know you're going to be around a lot of people, you're risking your life still or someone else's by being around a crowd of people. So I'm saying to myself, that is how deep the programming goes. That's how deep that it goes. And look at how the true nature of the Christ consciousness, right, source creator, created this whole thing to dismantle all of this, because all these people now can't go and collect around each other in no damn church. Okay, they choose to, exactly. But there's still some dummies that will still go because they, oh, I'll be saved. I'll be saved this way. You see?
And it's just the higher, you can see the higher level of suppression.
Yes.
Everything, because from the bathing, the cleaning.
Kellie just laughing.
Yeah.
You know me, how I get all passionate about this.
Listening when you're talking and thinking how we all grow up being told that, you don't call yourself a goddess, you don't call yourself a
Yes.
queen, you don't love yourself, you don't love, and we're taught, it's that programming that the term queen or goddess is worshipping someone else,
Yes.
or worshipping
Yes.
that, that other person.
Yes.
And so when it just goes so deep with so much of all of this, that they have controlled it
Yes.
so much.
Yes.
Everything that helps us step into our full divine sovereignty and discover our light and our power and open our pineal gland and connect with everything,
Yes.
to be able to raise our vibration and do, and be in connection with our higher self and higher selves and so on and so forth. All of that has completely been, taken from us in a way that we're being programmed to do it. That's not good, and it's all another way. Like, we're not even really taught until we awaken that that's what we can
Yes.
do. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
We are this divine
Yep.
light being.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it's just all this other stuff that comes from fear, because obviously the fear.
Yes, fear-based, because the fear-based thing is how one is disempowered, and then you're not really tapping into your own divinity and power that you have to be creative, because there's always someone looking for someone else to direct them, looking for someone else to lead them, looking for someone to tell them what to do, or whatever information comes from that person, instead of tapping into what feels right and go back in time and research what really is the truth and feel into it for yourself. You see, that's a part of coming into your sovereignty. You know what I mean?
And that's the big thing on this spiritual path. Some people call it the new age path. I've never really used terms like that for me. It's just been my spiritual path back to myself.
Yes.
And our connection, and what we're here for and things like that. But but I can say that and I can see it's happened to so many others, that we still we still listen to others, and we get drawn off our path because, we don't get back to what's right for us, back to the inner self. And I love that. I mean, all of this that's going on now is helping people go back to themselves,
reminding them,
reminding them to reconnect back, because it's there. Just got to find themselves, reconnect back in there. And there is a lot of amazing, beautiful light workers out there that are, helping people go back to their heart center, including you and I, back to their heart center, their soul, all of that. But in terms of this path,
and be aware of the ones that are leading you back to your heart center. Make sure they're not repeating the same things that they have been from 6 months ago. You know what we talk about.
Yes. Yeah, we know. Well, that's it. It's to be very mindful that some people will channel or write posts or do videos from their own ego level that they are at in their divine path, or even if they're not on this divine path with the beloved, just their ascension journey, and where they are in their ascension process. And I've seen people out there on big platforms that have just been spewing out all this stuff, and then 6 months later they have this huge energy shift and off they go, and they've had this light bulb moment, and then they say, oh, I'm sorry, everything I've said in the last 6 months now I don't believe in, or now I don't, So this is where you've really, we all have to go and not seek externally, and I guess that's the message.
Well, not seek externally all the time. That always to balance out, to go within also, because we're each releasing something in layers, and there's just some who are still holding on to the old constructs, the old system, the old thoughts, the old behaviors. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah.
But see, like, we're doing this video and you're going to put that out, or we're going to put that out, and people could say, well, you're doing that for others to watch, so they're watching you, right, seeking externally. But there's a difference, because we're not telling people how they have to do things, or how we are just offering the information, our own experiences as well, and what we've got through. And it's then for that person to take away and discern what feels right for them. Or if a trigger comes up, you know, and they think, oh, do I need to look at that masculine side of me or that feminist? Do you know what I mean? It's that sort of
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
And you and I, you know, I'm not saying we haven't definitely, you know, listened to other people, watched other videos, whatever, and, you know, been triggered at times, and that's helped us with awareness, other things
Oh
and
my
things like
God,
that.
I've had my triggers. Woo!
Yeah, yes, I've had mine too. I
Mm-hmm.
have. And I think, you know, even myself, I've followed people that I've kind of just then gone after a while, just none of this resonates with me anymore. And then that's forced me to go back within again if
Yes.
I've started to come out seeking.
Yes.
And so it's good that way too, because these people can force you to go back and wake up and go, oh,
Mm-hmm.
hang on, I need to go back in and reset. You know, what am I really feeling in my own heart and soul?
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
what are my fears? Face those fears. Don't just hit a fear and go, whoops, I don't like that feeling. You know, I'll go back and listen to another video, and she might tell me, or he might tell me what I want to hear, and that's good.
Yes. Yes.
It's about if you like going, oh, why do I feel like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's
Mm-hmm.
do that, and facing the fear and walking through that, you know, and not jumping. I guess what I'm trying to say is not stay. That helps to not stay in that place and continually watch that person that might be in that same place and telling people what they want to hear, because that's not going to shift anything for that person. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just
Yes.
the level. What I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Not sure if I'm delivering this how I'm trying to, but if I'm, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I mean, like I go back to emotional intelligence. Okay, that's what I'm hearing them talk
yeah,
about, emotional intelligence.
yeah,
Like I always say, when you are, uh, I would say, on your path of what I call the self mastery. That means you're consciously aware of yourself as
yeah,
being on a path of self mastery versus, oh, I'm a victim. Oh, look at what this one's doing to me. Oh, da da da. So that
yeah,
means you're looking
yeah,
at things from an
yeah.
observation. And
Yes, yeah,
yeah, from an
absolutely.
observation and not judgment. And
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
when you feel into, say, if you are listening to someone, and if you're triggered at the moment, then you look at yourself as to what is showing up for healing for you. And then
Yeah,
as you're working through that, allow yourself to feel through all of the emotions that come up for you. Then you apply intelligence with it by going back to the root of what that trigger is. Where did it start from? Where did it begin from? How
yeah,
can I now move into
yeah,
another frequency from that wound that I'm feeling? So give it time, and then as you're
yeah,
working through that emotion, then you work through that healing of, well, I can now shift my thought process as far as how I perceived this experience that I've attached myself to, because whatever you're going through or experiencing, you are not the
yeah,
experience. But a lot of times people say, oh, I am da 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 da, this is happening to da 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 to me.
yeah,
And then you're bringing the energy back to
yeah,
yourself as if you know the
yeah,
experience is you. um, and so, as you're looking and observing yourself based on your feelings and your emotions, when you know that you've mastered yourself through all of those elements, because the emotions can move through, again, rage, anger, frustration. You can go from joy to sadness, and then it comes back again into another element. You may have the experience that repeats itself again in another timeline with someone else or the same person, or it shows up in a different way. And then once you know that it doesn't affect you, you don't feel triggered anymore, then you know that you have
yeah,
mastered yourself through that, and you respond
yeah.
differently, or you don't respond at all. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that brings in that honor as well, because I think I know for me, when you were talking about this before, we both felt a sense of not being heard at one point and not being honored.
Yes.
And when I got to that point of self mastery, I just pulled back and I went, well, I'm just honoring myself. And I didn't even feel drawn to comment on things or re-comment. You know what I mean? I
Yeah. And you
just
pull away. You kind of pull away
you,
from it, and you
you do.
know. Yeah.
You do.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
doesn't feel heavy anymore. That's another thing too. Like it doesn't feel
No,
heavy. It doesn't
no.
affect you. you're detached, but you're still in
Yeah.
a knowing space with it. So even if
That's
you're
it. Yeah.
walking among the crowd and you're feeling all the energy of people being afraid, or like they're in their fear, or they're in a
Yeah.
panic and stuff like that, you diffuse their thoughts by focusing on your joy, what you're feeling within yourself, because you're like in a knowing that everything is okay. You know what I mean? That
Yeah.
even if that
Yeah.
smile is on your face and you're in laughter and joy, that you don't have to
Yeah.
explain. Because a lot of times I know that um, many of us in many lifetimes have had to dim our lights and stuff like that, because if someone else is experiencing their sadness and their anger, that it's like you got to join them, or they want you to join them in where they're at. But you are your
Yeah.
sovereignty by choosing where you can be, even if you're among those who are not at that same frequency as you. Because I know sometimes people say, oh, when you're in your joy, just be around people who are also in their joy only. So I'm not saying to always be around people who are not, but it's, can I master
Yeah.
myself even with the ones who are not at the same level where I am? There's times when we may have to pull away
Yeah.
completely, and there's times when
Yeah.
we're going to be coexisting at some level, not in every instance. It all
Yeah.
depends. It all depends. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Well said.
Well, I do my best. Woo, yes, I do, because I've been through that ringer with my kids alone. When one is in this vibration and the other one is in the other vibration, and still the detachment is what helps, because the emotional intelligence is, no matter where that person is in what they say or speak, I don't have to join you. I can dismiss myself, or I can tell you class is dismissed, and I just
Yeah.
move the fuck on, and I go on
Yeah.
my merry way, and then we come back in harmony again. I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
I've seen it
Yeah.
happen. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then what happens is that energy itself says, oh, gosh darn, I can't seem to get her to join me in my misery. You know what I'm saying? Or you can get one of these at the. At your local beauty supply fucking store, and fill it up with some sterilized water if you need to, and spray those motherfuckers. Worse, and you know what? It actually goes the distance. It goes like up to 20 feet. You got to turn the knob. So even if the motherfuckers are around the corner, that shit, that my mother, oh my God, this shit was hilarious. You ever heard them stories of when the mothers throw the shoe, and you think when you go around the corner, it's like, yeah, they missed me. That shoe go right around the corner and just get your ass. Oh, shit. Oh my God. Hilarious.
Sharon says, I love you both. Oh, thank you. We love you.
Thank you for staying on with us all this time. Oh my God.
Thank you so much.
It's,
Gosh, I don't even know what the time is over there. Like
it's 3:40 a.m. I'm on the East Coast.
What?
Yeah. Kelly, come on, Kelly. Kelly, you know I'll be up this time. Come on now. You know this is my time, because all the other sleepers are sleeping. Don't you know? Oh, don't you notice how the thing is not? It's not spinning around anymore. You notice no more interruptions. They're all going to sleep. That's right.
They have.
This is another song I love.
Wow. What's this one?
Here we go. I need you. See, I got all kind of music. This is my soul classical.
Oh, building up Buttercup.
Yes. You remember Buttercup Drive?
So powerful. Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, honey.
So much clarity. So thanks for the message.
You are so. It was meant to be. You know how long Kelly and I wanted to do a live? Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. There's so much stuff we had to process.
Do you know what time zone Taylor's on?
Kayla, where are you located? Ooh, it's gonna cut off. Thank you for joining us. It was awesome conversations. Check me out on YouTube, Sharon Andrea. Check out Kellie. She's also an author. What's your book again, Kellie? Telling me.
Flying Without Wings.
Flying Without Wings. That's right. Check me out on Sharon Andrea, and I'll be back on again in the near future. Peace.
242.
Over here, we're boxing. Oh, it's another song that it's on my playlist. Yes. So I'm back again. Let me just close this door. Uno momento. Anyway. Yes, thank you for coming back on again. To getting the messages out, and all of us that's on here, we are grounding. We're grounding. We are both the divine masculine and the divine feminine. We're all of it. Yes. Yes, Kellie, complete what you were saying, because I was also getting another message to share along with what you were saying as well. Can you hear me? Can't hear you.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see. So, okay, now you're coming in. Okay.
Wish I could.
Mm-hmm. You can talk. Oh, can't hear you again. Not hearing you. Guess you have to go back out and come back in. You. Can't hear her, right? Okay, so she went back out. I'll wait till when she comes back in. So one of the things I was piggybacking off of what Kellie was saying, interestingly, because of when she was talking about the divine masculine, and and I know a lot of times people always question about the karmic connections, the karmic relationships, and how does that facilitate, during this time. And the divine masculine is being brought into this place of where they're having to connect to their truths. Okay, the veil is thin. They're feeling things. Everything is being disclosed. The truth is coming out inevitably to do with everything, with everyone. And there's no hiding anymore. We can't hide in the corners. We can't hide in the closets. All the skeletons are going to be falling out everywhere. It's almost like there's some people who are terming this like the true clarion call is happening right now. So they're also receiving the call of not only where their hearts lie, but also, when I mean lie, meaning lie, not lie like not telling the truth, but also their position of power. And also what we came here to do and to be, to where we came to be in that physical manifestation of true love on the earth, and that higher consciousness, that higher state of being, that higher place of love. Okay, and it doesn't have to be tied to whether you wrote a book or whether you wrote a blog. It's where your passion lies. It could only just be being in that love space and being in love. Okay. That's one of the key to all of this. And so they're starting to connect to where they feel they are meant to be. So if they were in like whatever type of jobs or careers that they have, if people are going through changes or going through changes of career changes and and things that they know that's bringing them into their own alignment. And I was referring to earlier to do with children, like when you lock up the child in the room, almost everyone has had to stay home. And usually especially the male dominated energy in the male form, they want to be out there. They want to be in the field, and they want to work, and they want to, that's how they feel they provide for their family. But I want to tell you, I had the pleasure of listening to, oh my gosh, what's Gabrielle Union's husband name again? how can I forget his name? Anyway, Gabrielle Union's husband, okay, he's the basketball player. He announced on his live that this quarantine thing for him has brought him closer to his family. Okay, it has brought him closer to connecting to his family. It has brought him to get to understand his wife and his children more. You see what I'm saying? And so this is how the divine is also working through the twins, the divine masculine, in how they're connecting back to themselves and what family means, the true divine family, not just the family that is in that space of dysfunction. You don't communicate. There's no intimacy. They don't know how to identify themselves separately from one another because they're busy looking for approval and acceptance. You see what I'm saying? They haven't been able to free, like Kelly, when she talks about her divine masculine and how he loves to be outdoors and loves to be free. And that's what he loves to connect to. So there's also something within divine masculine, I have to tell you this, that they're feeling their own inner anger because the veil is thin and the truth now is known to them. Like, wait a minute, this is not who I am. This is not where I really want to be. Fuck this shit. Seriously, fuck this shit. Okay, so it's that type of anger, and this is not who I really am in love with. This is not where I want to be. This is not who I am, and so it goes through stages. Like when you first find out, and you're like, oh my god, and then the next stage is, oh god, and then the next stage is, what the fuck, and then the next stage could be that acceptance, and it goes in these layers. You see, of what's coming through for them. Yes. See, so in the meantime, you still stay in your power and knowing who you are, who your connection is, not going back and forth toggling. Oh, yes, he is. No, he not. Like you're holding a flower. He loves me. She loves me not. She loves me. No, you know. That's it. You see, that's grounding. When you know, that's grounding. Go ahead, Kelly. You saying something, Kelly? Can't hear you. Oh, it's swirling. So it must be your Wi-Fi. Can't hear you. It's blank. Can't hear you. Got to keep restarting. That restart button. Well, Kelly comes out again. I'm going to share something else again because I took me some notes so I didn't forget. That's right. And so this was a message I was getting through, connecting to when I was having that session. And this is what I wrote. I said, each pair of twin that comes into physical union stabilizes the grid. And there are sacred geometric codes that facilitate these grid points that extend out not only locally, but it's also globally. Okay. So everything is just intertwining from one layer to the next, one region to the next. Okay. So if you find yourself wondering, why did I end up coming here? Or are you driving your car and all of a sudden you get lost and you're in another location? It's because we are templating different grid points on the earth with the newer energy. So remember that new energy is also based on where your thoughts are, where your belief is, what you know to be true with how things are being created. Newsflash. What's that other word that I always use again? Public service announcement. For those who are still holding on very tightly, oh, we're going to still have to, why are they taking away the paper money? Oh my, no, I don't want to. I don't want to get to, stop, okay? Everything that existed before in the past, all those structures, paper money was built on blood, okay? It was built on deception. Paper money was built on the dishonoring of our indigenous people. In many cultures and many lands, we're returning back to gold and silver and bartering with one another, okay? So everything that existed in the past time that didn't serve our union energy is leaving. Everything that's been created from that time and space and element of one side has more than the other side, it's not going to exist any longer. Okay, that's right. Human trafficking is everything. The governmental structures, educational system. We go back to where families are able to become families again, divine families. Okay, so that's why we are here to remember. We're here for so many reasons besides being in love always. Okay, always coming from the heart, but we're also coming forth with that righteous anger and where we're placing ourselves in what is not the highest and best for humanity. If it doesn't feel right inside, that's your clue. You know, you know. See, Kiki says that you're so powerful, you're disturbing the Wi-Fi frequencies. Oh my gosh.
I'm always disturbing.
It's back now. It's back now.
And us two on together.
Yes.
Okay?
Huh? I can hear you. I can hear you.
In case anything else happens, what I wanted to say, just bouncing off what you were saying before, go with the men, is that when you said they'd been like going in and out, etc. Today's energies that I was receiving, and I just want to make this really clear, it was definitely, and I think I said this to you, there was no 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Oh, I'll just go in. Oh no, I'm out. I'm just going. It was definitely that. Fuck this shit. I'm done with that. It was really a powerful frequency of I'm like putting themselves first, and I'm just doing this. I don't care anymore about anyone or anything else. It was just that powerful energy. So that's what I was getting, which kind of, surprised me when it came through too, because I know we've had these energies of in and out, in and out, in and out sort of thing. And another I really wanted, you felt that too. And another thing I wanted to share, especially with the divine feminine on here, and I guess any masculine that, sorry, it's got a message, any masculine that are on here too that might like to know. So even though I'm really feminine, I carry a lot of masculine energy. So
she does.
So Sharon and I, we help each other because she's more like my twin, and I'm more like her twin.
Yes.
Yeah. So I've had to work, and I'm an Aries too. So I've had to work really hard over the last couple of years. When I say really hard, like just on that awareness, because I've always defaulted to my masculine energy most of my life. So I can be feminine and I can really go that way, but when anything happens, I kind of tend to default to the masculine. So I've really had to look at the last couple of years, things that are going on. And what I found is, and this is how I became more aware of it, is that over the last couple of years, if I was reading any energy reports about the masculine, even if it was the divine masculine in the male body, I'd look at it and go, oh, I'm kind of going through that as well. And then I'd look at what the divine feminine was, they were saying was going through, and I'd go, oh, I'm going through that as well. So I really felt that I was going through both. And I know that these true connections, because the way we share a soul and energy, the consciousness and an energy, and I do know that we are going to go through the same simultaneously. There's, to me, what I believe is there's no, just the masculine are going through this and the feminine are going through that. I believe we're going to experience both, but there is going to be times where, as Sharon and I have talked about, and she pointed out how different it still will feel in the masculine body as opposed to the feminine body. So I've been watching that certain things, like, last year they were saying the divine masculine were going through legal things, and it might have been, through solicitors or tying up stuff. And I was going through all of that at that time. So I've been watching what I've been doing. And I just wanted to say that along the last couple of months, I've really shifted in lots of different ways when I've been more aware of this. And the last 2 days, who's staying with my mother at the moment while all this, I haven't been able to go back to Bali while all this sea stuff's going on. I had conversations with my mum the last 2 days, opening up more about my divine masculine, my beloved and our connection. And it just opened up for me to do that. And that today, after your dream, I get that download, right? Of how the masculine and now with their mother are going, like my mum, I wasn't hiding it from her. It was
you didn't tell me, or maybe I didn't hear that in your voice note yet. So that's interesting.
No, I forgot to tell you. I just
wow.
I thought of it then.
So that tells you where we're on point then with what is connecting to the mother. Mm-hmm.
The difference is my mum already knew. My mum's already been supportive of me for years about it. But it was me that probably at times held back talking about it. But I felt a lot more freer the last 2 days just talking about stuff. And so whereas the masculine might not, like the parents may not know or the mother may not know, so that is different, but it's still kind of the same energy. If the person is holding back, if the feminine or the masculine is holding back in any way, or just thinking, oh, I won't mention that, you know, because it's just whatever, then that's the energy. It's that energy of holding back, and it's the energy of not really owning your own connection and power. And
yes. Say that word again. Say that word again. Not owning your connection.
Your connection. You think you are inside and you feel it, but I'm talking about as in like 100%, no holding back of speaking your truth, right? Speaking truth. And I just, and Sharon knows this, I took my website down a couple of weeks ago.
I was going to tell you to talk about that too.
It felt like the energy had gone, and I've moved into, those of you that don't know on here, I've moved into screenwriting. My daughter's the director, so I've moved into writing books and screenwriting and stuff, but I felt I was still trying to like keep my website going, and thought, yeah, I'll do that. But I felt the energy even since late last year, it just wasn't there. So I took it down a couple of weeks ago, and I just knew I just rolled with the waves, and and then 2 days ago, was it yesterday? No, it was yesterday.
Yesterday, yeah.
Wow. In this isolation stuff, I just turned my phone off and I didn't listen to messages, and I just felt really, really centered and balanced, and just whatever was coming through. And I just got this message. I was ready. The energy was there for me to bring my website up again, and I just did it so quickly. I just was in the zone with my higher self, and I just went through and I took out what needed to go, and what I was doing is making it simple, and I was including, and this is really important, the energy. Even though I might have said, that we're on this path beforehand on my website and stuff like that, I'd worded it differently.
Yes.
And so my beloved, my twin, had been coming in the last few weeks saying that we're a unit, and it's we and us, not me and I. So the more we start talking about us as a joined one unit rather than two, and so on my website I put we. I just changed the language, and it changed the energy so much, because I was ready to openly just put it out there in whatever way it flowed for me. To not be worrying about, oh, is someone going to judge this, or should I hold back on that, or would
same thing you said. Those are the words we used earlier, right?
Yeah, exactly. So this happened yesterday, like before your dreams, had nothing to do with your dream.
But everything was still coinciding stuff along the way. Here's something else interesting as I think about it. I'm planning to post. I got a beautiful testimony from someone. She thanked me so much for the videos that I've been putting up recently, and I guess in the past as well. And I sent it to Kellie and Tavon, and Kellie started to cry. And I've never heard Kellie cry. And I think I said it earlier that...
I cry?
Huh? You what?
I cry.
You cried. She cried. And I even said that the divine masculine is crying because the hearts are starting to open wider, you know, in how they're feeling about their divine feminine. And a young man reached out to me. This is all happening just simultaneously, and said, Sharon, you know, I just love you. I really love you. And I looked at his profile. This was on Facebook, and I was like, oh my God, he's really, really young. And I told him back, I said, oh, I love you too. And I said, wonder what inspired him. And it's because he saw the video of when I was dancing, and this was way back in 2017. And he said to me, I've always wanted to tell you that I love you. And I knew in my heart it was coming from Randy. And I was like, wow, not that I never knew before, but this is where that reconnection, that reset is coming in to connect with our divine feminine through our hearts. And because Kellie changed the verbiage from herself to us, it's not that she didn't feel that she shouldn't include her twin, it's because we have to be aware, or at least understand what we speak and how we connect ourselves to this connection. Because I know it's so easy to look at it as outside of yourself to do with that person, because it's like I'm practically saying to myself, I love myself. And have I ever told myself, which I do tell myself, is, oh, I love you so much, Sharon. But the love and the peace that I've made with love and with others, and how I connect to this love, is showing up in my outer reality. And when I read this young lady's testimony to me, from what she stated, and her twin, her beloved, is back. They're back together again, and it happened yesterday, or I think it was the day before. And I was so moved by this, because it, again, I knew before she sent that to me, I knew that I healed that part of myself that was feeling pain or feeling dishonored by the collective, by humanity, because of how much sacrifices I've made towards my life and with my beloved, and having to choose. You know, it was many lifetimes that happened where I was told to choose between me and them, and, you know, back and forth, you know, and so that showed up with this element now of a union that has taken place on all levels. And it touched my heart. I was in such joy. Oh, I was in such joy when I heard it. And I couldn't help but tell Kellie, and I told Keandra, and I told Tavon. I was like, look at this, look at God, look at how God shows up. And it's not that I never knew it wasn't real, but just how love, and the way she worded it, I had it up on the bloody computer and the thing just deleted. But anyway, when she said, and we came back together in peace, because she was describing all the calamity that did exist with them. It wasn't like, ooh, God just met and then that was it. And to top it off, because I did ask for permission, can I share this out? Because I heard Spirit say, oh, I'm going to share this out so everyone can see, or even if it encourages you, or even if it inspires you, or even if, you know, because it's like we're bursting out in the air with this love. This is the true love that's now templating on earth, you see? Yeah. And then to make it even greater was that Kellie cried. And then on top of that, Kellie didn't know that she wrote me back, and she said that it was okay for me to print it out there. And she said, and by the way, Sharon, my template is also, there's a difference in culture, and there's also a difference in age gap. And then I shared it with Kellie, and she said, oh my God, that's the same age when I met my twin. Okay? The same thing. And I said, see, all these barriers and all these blocks are just disintegrating and disintegrating. There's the divine feminine healing, divine masculine healing, and it's intertwining, you know, in and out like a weaving basket. And it's such a beautiful love story. See?
She said they came from the worst families, and they had a lot of individual healing to do. A lot of abandonment and rejection issues. And she said they'd done their healing, and well, I don't know if I'm allowed to say their age.
Yeah, she said it was okay to even their name. See, that's the power. She said that you can share our name and everything. See, this is where the power comes in, where we're not afraid anymore. Because if you know that it's the truth, then it sets you free.
Yeah. So she's 41 and he's 22. And And so it was powerful because they have already done, even with his age, a lot of healing. That's what I felt too through the whole lot. And she said, she say something like we had to both come into the balance, or she had to balance the.
She said she had to work through a lot of her ego, or something to do with her ego,
ego,
and all the videos that she's been watching helped her through that space to be able to do that, and it just made me feel so good inside.
Yeah, it was so beautiful. It really was. Yeah.
Yes.
And I didn't know a lot of those details. I didn't know about the age gap and all that before when you sent it to me, and something touched me so deep in my heart, and I just cried. I was crying happy tears
tears, yes. Happy tears.
It was pouring out, and I knew at the same time it was shifting something, but I just, on a grander scale, because of what she was sharing with us and what had happened. And this is powerful. Like, this stuff's really powerful.
Very powerful. And
it's words on paper, a text message.
Yeah.
Powerful.
Yes. And, and when I heard you say that, it's like I guess, what was it? You felt that inspiration to change what you changed on your website even before you heard. See, everything was just synchronizing between us.
On my website.
Yes.
Because remember, I pushed the phone away and turned it off, and I won't. I don't want to get caught up in any other conversations or energies. I just want to do this. You didn't know I was doing it. I don't even know if I'd spoken to you that morning.
No.
Yesterday.
No, but then something pulled you.
Yeah, and then after I'd done it, I okay, Sharon's messaged me, I'm going to have a look now. And then I read that. And that's when I said to you, oh my God, I can't believe, I just had that transformation myself this morning. And what you said was right. It wasn't that I was not including my beloved in things, or like my energy. I was trying to do that, but there was still that part that I was kind of it was an energy that wasn't quite 100% there of me putting it out there in terms of the sacredness of it, like people not, like the judgment, things like that. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
That as an energy. Yeah, I felt I had been doing that, but it was not from, what I want to say is it wasn't from a balanced masculine and feminine place within me. It was coming from more of a, I'm going to put this out there, and anybody that doesn't like it can just get stuffed or whatever,
But also remember that words carry vibration. Okay, yeah. Certain words. So when you say what you say, and it's not in an inclusive space, it makes it look like as if that person or he is outside of you. Okay.
Yeah. That's right.
So
yeah.
I remember too, even this whole week here, I was also in contact with another one of my friend client as well, and she said, she says, I already know in my heart that my twin and I belong together. So I told her, I said, well, how about instead of saying your twin and you belong together, that you already know that the both of you are one, instead of saying you belong together, because saying that you belong together is more that frequency of ownership, codependency, or he's mine, she's mine, okay? And that old 3D matrix pattern of how we look at and view and perceive a relationship. Whereas when you look at yourself as one consciousness, one energy, of yourself and that person, there's a difference in how it feels inside and how it's lighter.
It is. Because I just wanted to say, and I said this to you, it was like, this just came to me then. It's like the Divine Feminine, we're doing an amazing job, and we're out trying to help, and we might have been doing it for years, or may have just started whenever it is that we stepped onto our path to, to be these ascension activators and really help others out there. And what's happened is there's been a lot of talk about the divine feminine has to step into her power and blah, 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 blah. And that's great. But with that, there's the energy that's like the feminine's took off and done it. And all the time knowing that she's with this beloved and has this connection, but it's like, this is her, like she's saying, this is my work. Oh, I'm doing this. You know, I'm putting that out. I'm doing this video. I'm writing this book. I'm doing this, whatever it is, you know. And what my twin from the higher taught me is that needed to shift to being one together. We're doing this, even though the feminine's specifically doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, we're writing this book. We're doing this.
Yeah. Because that's what it is. Yeah. Because I would receive downloads and messages coming from my twin's higher self, and or sometimes even from what's within the subconscious mind, because it's a shared energy, and it can be very easily distracting into thinking as if it's separate from you, or that whatever you do, that it's going to create, which is another form of masculine energy in that old system, the old patriarchal system, that if I do this, then I'm going to be rewarded for that. So it's like, I'll be rewarded and I'm being good and this and that. And that's also another frequency to let go of, that if I do this, that this is going to create that to happen. Whereas it's simultaneously existing between you and your divine masculine or your divine feminine. You see, that's exactly how it does work. It's not separate. It's not separate. The divine created it for the divine masculine to look like as if the back is turned, and to look like they don't care, but that's not what it is either. You see?
And it doesn't matter what's going on in the physical world, because it's all the energy. And and I tell you, I cannot express how much the energy shifted when I changed that website. And and then you cried, after from so a lot of things shifted within all those hours yesterday. You see what I'm saying? And then me with the dream, and then the whale. You see, and then get the messages. Talking to my mum about our love, all that sort of stuff. Really a lot of different stuff, high vibrational stuff happening, and everything felt so aligned. So you know how you can really feel when something's truly aligned, and then when something's kind of half aligned, you think, oh, I know I'm kind of meant to be doing this, but why doesn't it feel lighter? Why doesn't it feel perfect? Why doesn't it feel right? But you kind of think you're on the right path. So there's those underlying energies where you've got, you know, like we were just talking about, we had to bring it more into a balance together.
Yeah, and a lot of the things that have held back many is the fear of judgment and wanting validation or wanting acceptance. You see? Yeah. So, and the acceptance of self. Comparing. And comparing, exactly. Making comparison and saying, oh, well, you know, my path is not looking like the other person's path, and because it's not looking like the other person's path, then I must be doing something wrong, or that it's not going to happen for me because you're going by a checklist, because that checklist thing is also tied to masculine energy and how the perception is of how things should look, and that I got to go in a perfect order. You know what I mean? And when you're in your heart more, you're in divine flow. You're in freedom. You're in a freedom energy. There's a difference. Exactly. That's being in the feminine space. See? Yeah. Big difference.
And you had that conversation with me, like I said before, for any of those that have just joined, Sharon and I, like, I'm more in the masculine energy. I try to keep a balance, but I default more to masculine, you default more to the feminine. So we pick things up with each other. And you said to me the other day, you know, that spirit was showing you, I kind of have this checklist all the time where it's that old energy, that old paradigm of the work, or got to be doing something all the time, you know. And as soon as I took that on and I removed that, like, because I took on what you said and I looked at that, and just having that awareness actually just shifted it just like that, because it was the next day I woke up and I was more in this piece, and all the stuff came about the website and then all the other messages, and just I'm like, no, I no checklist. No, I have to do this, or you know, and I just flowed all day.
Yes.
In that,
Yes.
that soul energy, yeah.
Well, you know, because in the divine masculine, it had been very ingrained, deeply entrenched with that slavery template, and that you have to work, you have to do this. If you're not productive, how am I going to make things happen? How am I going to provide for my family? I have to struggle. I have to be on top of things. I got to win. And that's why the monetary system is breaking down, because that has been one of the things that has been such distraction with our unions. It's a big distraction because there's worry and fear. How am I going to take care of my family? Oh, I need to have all of this in order to do that. Or I got to have all of this so that way I can come into union. Or I got to do this in order to be able to prove myself. And again, that's more distraction. Whereas instead of coming from that creative space, is that I am all that is needed. I am all that is necessary to make things happen. I am the money. I am the wealth. I am the power. I am. Okay.
I am the balance.
Everything. Everything comes through me because I am connected to my divinity, because I am that I am that I am. You see? And so there's always something that comes in that reverts us back to the old programming where, oh, I need to get that checklist going. Oh, I got to make sure I do this, you know, and it's that habit forming.
Yeah, it is. You kind of wake up and go.
Yeah, I gave my children and someone the best advice I could ever give them yesterday. That's why my kids always say, oh, how could you say things? I said, you know, go get lazy. Go procrastinate. You work great when you procrastinate. You really do. You really do. And I'm usually the one that is always got to be busy. I literally sat in my chair yesterday for 2 hours not doing a motherfucking thing. And I was like,
and not guilty about it.
Done. And Spirit says, yes, you did. You did nothing. That's where I want you to be. That's where I want you to be, to do nothing. Yeah. Do nothing sometimes. Do absolutely nothing sometimes. See?
Yeah.
And that's the reason why many of us have been put in the corner, sequestered, what they call it again, quarantined, all of that through the divine. Yeah. You see?
Yeah.
So one of the messages that I did get from doing that session was the same darkness that separated twins is the same darkness that is pulling twins back together. That's what I received that message yesterday. The same darkness, the same things that have been hidden, everything that is coming out in the open, that's the full disclosure, all the stuff that we've been manipulated with, and all the stuff that we've been hidden from or dishonored, okay? Because many of us have gone through the dishonoring stages of a lot of things, okay? The voices that had not been heard and all of that. The same darkness of what has gone against us with our heads being cut off or throat slashed or eyes poked out or thrown off of bridges and whatever that we have been, hurt, maimed and everything just for speaking our truth and just for being our truth. The same thing has occurred with the divine masculine as well. They're working through their working within themselves to heal the throat chakra and to speak their voice and to speak from their hearts and not being afraid to express themselves. And how this is happening is by being locked up or held back or not being able to connect to the outside world too much. Yeah. Okay, so we know that when we go through these awakening stages, there's times when you're going to feel like you want to be cocooned, like you don't want to talk to anyone, you don't want to be around anyone. And so that's essential. So if you find yourself where all of a sudden your twin says, hey, they hit you up and all of a sudden you don't hear from them, or they talk differently from one side of the mouth or whatever, they're processing through a lot and it's happening rapidly. Like they told me like it's milliseconds per day, per hour. Dream states, everything. They're having astral visitations as well. Okay, all of that stuff is happening. And when I was talking about the transitions, that there are many transitions that are happening through this, thing that's going on, okay? And each time that a soul is leaving the planet, it places an energy and a support of what is releasing, so that way there's this more of that harmonic merge that's happening with the souls. Okay, so in other words, if you think of pockets of energy that have been blocks, okay, like say for instance, if I come to a divine masculine and say I love you, but they're not ready to receive because they're in anger or pain, or they don't feel they deserve it, that energy of block that's within them, okay, to not want to receive that love because they don't feel they deserve it, or that they have to measure up to it, or they got to work for it, or they got to, you see what I'm saying? It's attached to something. And so when it's that, when that thought process and belief is released from within the divine masculine, that flows through from you because you believe in love again, and how that's attached to the mother energy. If she felt abandoned or experienced abandonment, okay, she conceived the children or the child through anger, okay, and frustration. So you see, there's so many different levels of beliefs and things that are moving through this system, this energy right now that's flushing out of us, okay? And that's why you're gonna have more hot flashes, okay? Because that's what happened to me. Like my body, as I'm talking now, my body's starting to get hot, okay? Your throat, you might feel the throat. And I know too that it might be a little bit more difficult, not too difficult, to differentiate. Am I having ascension symptoms, or am I having symptoms to do with the C? Something Kellie posted in her story, which I totally agree with. Keep yourselves elevated and higher in thought, higher in love. Dance, because that part of your soul that's elevated is where the power comes in, okay? You were designed and created to be healthy and whole, okay? The thought and consciousness is where it takes you to what you receive based on your belief, okay? And that you know that you are protected, that you are protected. Did I say that? That you are protected, that you have this auric field that blasts out in frequency with this light that is a protector, that is light. That same light is what is sustaining us. That same light is how you are fed through your spirit, okay? And it sends out that shock wave of nothing can hold me back. Nothing shall destroy me. You see? So that's the key to how and where this is taking us. Do you see what I'm saying? And I know that it's in intervals that we're working through the fear of, oh my God, what if I get it? Oh my God. Because, and you see, the reason why they don't know completely, you know, how it's contracting from one person to the next, because it's still not resolved. It's not. Is because the Holy Spirit wants us to trust. Trust that you are protected. Because as far as how I can feel it into it energetically, it's like something in the air that you can't see. You can't see. And it's like you're walking into something that could look and appear like danger. But if your consciousness is going to say and feel like, oh my God, what if? Oh my God, this and that. Whereas if you're walking more boldly, like, I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on the joy that I am experiencing right now with this and that and whatnot, because every day that you're thinking a thought, speaking it out is what you're bringing into your reality. And it's very key to how you're feeling and believing in your reality now, because of all of these reunions that are coming in. So it's important to feel into what you're feeling within your own energy field and what you are creating and manifesting and co-creating in your reality between yourself and whomever else that you are connected to, okay? That even includes your children. It includes the region where you're at, the people around you. When I walk around and everywhere I go, people are in good spirits where I'm at. I don't think it could be any less anyway, you know what I'm saying? Because as I move through the elements, what I love about this is that everyone that I come into contact with, this, I went to get like a little, I said, you know, I feel like getting satisfied my inner child and get some ice cream. I just want to taste, I just want to taste it. So I went and I got some ice cream, and this man comes over and he's there making jokes, and everybody was 6 feet away from each other, and he was making jokes. And you see, I wouldn't have it any other way. You know why? Because I'm always making jokes, so therefore I attract the energy of being in each place, wherever I am, for people who are going to joke around and not take it so seriously. You see? Makes a difference.
keeping that vibe high. So what if you feel it dropping or something, or any type of fear coming in, just do, yeah, obviously have an awareness of looking, going in and feeling that, and feeling if something needs to be released. But also, like we were saying, pardon me, do like dance or put some music on, or do something that is going to, you know, because sometimes, especially when we're so empathic, we can be feeling into these changes, these waves of energies going on at the moment, the collective energies. So we could be feeling into that and thinking that's ours, and it's not. And you know, so it's just it's a lot of mindfulness at the moment. And there's just two things I remembered while you were talking that I just wanted to say quickly, and that is back with the masculine we were talking. One thing I forgot to say, which I had said to you when we were talking about the masculine and the mother, is that Spirit showed me that just as much as they are cutting that cord and feeling like that, so is the mother. So it was like balanced energy on both. It wasn't like the mother trying to still hold on. The mother was actually, they showed me, was letting go too now. The mother role is letting go.
Do you remember what happened? Was it last weekend? Was it last weekend when I said that I told my son, that's it. If I'm not being honored with my grandchildren, that I'm not being honored, I said, well, you know what? Until they honor me, doesn't matter. I said, because it comes from within my son and my daughter-in-law, that how the children are responding to me, and it's not my responsibility just because they're my grandchildren that I'm to accept to be dishonored, that you don't want to have manners and say, hi, grandma, how, you know, nope, that's it. And I was like, oh, well, the energy and the attachment that I had, because remember, it's on two sides of the coin. It's like, I'm a mother as well. And I love my children, my grandchildren, but I love me more. And like I said, the motherfucking ant could be crawling, coming, you're going to say hi to me too? That's it. You're going to greet me. That's right, because I greet them. I say, hey, Ant, how you doing? What's up, spider? Okay, that's it. That's it.
And that's how I feel at the moment too. You know, we've discussed this. I've just been through some things with my daughter. She's been helping me through her masculine energy. We've been pushing this out, and we've both been having similar things with our kids at the same time.
Kellie has her fuck that shit moments too with her daughter. Yes, she does.
Yeah. And so our kids are also teaching us for us to step into our divine sovereignty and honoring being honored.
And being honored and valued.
So much.
Yeah.
And one other important thing that I'm being guided to share as well, which I wanted to say.
Kiki said, yes, God, because she's been going through that with her son too. Oh my God, I tell you. What a bit we've been pushing through for the past 2 weeks.
I know.
Seriously.
I think that are ready to, the ones that are really ready to step up, and 100%, it's just to be honored now. And if something is not honoring them, they're letting it go.
Yes.
And I think, you know, and those loved ones that are coming with us on this ascension path are helping us, you know.
Yes. They're helping us. Yeah.
At a conscious level, they may not know they're doing it, but they're doing it, you know. Another thing I just wanted to say is, and you and I were talking about this when you saw that, because we're often, you know, seeing things with each other in past lives, and Sharon saw that my twin and I we've had lots of past lives, but the past lives I had mainly seen, I was the feminine, and he was the male. And as she said, we've had many lives like that, but we've also had many lives where he was the woman and I was the male, the man. So when I was talking before about me holding this masculine energy that I had to really work through over the last couple of years, this is what Sharon was saying, that in my past lives when we were together, as me as a man and him as a woman, I had authoritative roles, like a general or something, like a governor general or, you know, royalty, whatever it was. I had these what would you call, like
authoritative positions,
authority position roles,
where
I in that masculine, quite deeply in that masculine power. So when she saw that, that made a lot of sense, and a lot of light bulbs went off with that, because I'd been working through this masculine energy shit for so long, you know, and I was just like, wow, it's really hard to embedded in there, quite hard. So I just wanted to say that for any of the feminine out there that might feel that too, and remember that it can be past lives that we've been in with our twins, where we were reverse sexes, and that can, you know, also.
And the past lives is actually timelines. It's actually timelines that are still playing out in the current time. See?
Yeah.
And the way it collapses is from the time and the moment that you become aware of it, okay, from that subconscious level, and through that conscious level, what's made conscious is what has been in the dark, what you may not have known. Sometimes your twin also helps you to see what's in the dark, what has been in the dark, what has been hidden, and however they're talking or acting towards you. Pay attention to the people around you. How are they responding to you? How are you projecting or responding to what you're experiencing? And then at that moment, you can tell which energy you're in. That if you're in, because I know that in the collective consciousness, there was a few weeks back when a lot of us were in more masculine energy, the ones who were like, you know, who were more in feminine energy before. And then now what Spirit tells me is that it's switched over to the divine masculine being more in feminine energy. Now it's switching back now, where they're going to start filtering, going back into that masculine energy, because we are the ones that transmute the old structures, the old codes, okay? Because we bring those old codes into awareness, all the stuff that had been hidden, everything that's been breaking down. And as we change the thought, change the view, the perception, the beliefs that you break down, as you are changing it within yourself, not only because you're aware of it, but you're taking action with it as well. That means that you're doing things differently, and that you're perceiving and understanding things differently. And as you're doing that, that is what creates that new divine masculine template. When I did talk about the new prototype of divine masculine, occurs through the divine feminine. That's where it starts from, because that's where we started from the beginning, through the mother frequency. And they show me that they started through from the Palladians, okay? And how we were merged with one another. Greetings. How we merged with one another in terms of what was created, excuse me. And the feminine principle is what created the masculine energy. She gave birth to him, and then she couldn't find that peace. And then that's when we started that cycle again of regenerating the masculine energy. So this is the space where we're at now. So it's like you become the daughter and the mother and the father and the child. All the templates that have been created during that course of time is what we're bringing together. And it's that new thought, the new thought of children, and how they're in their freedom. There are a lot of children who didn't want to go to school anymore. They didn't. They said they're bored. My daughter said the same thing. They're bored to tears. They wanted something new. They wanted to be homeschooled. Children can be homeschooled so they don't have to get vaccinations. All the changes, right? Mothers who wanted help. Mothers who have gone through so much suffering, have to take care of children, family, and the home, and all this stuff, and all these role playing that has been pushed onto women. Oh, you can handle it. Oh, you can do it. And then all the illnesses and stuff had not been addressed because of the emotional frame of mind that has existed and the disconnect that has happened between masculine and feminine. So that part of how you're reconnecting to your inner divine masculine and feminine is what is creating that reality and what comes into that union. So if you've been more programmed into thinking that you got to work hard, you got to, you know, that money really doesn't grow on trees, or do you believe there's an abundance of everything and that there's enough of everything, that you're not out there scrambling looking for toilet paper, you know, or, you know, like I went to the supermarket this evening and I see all these individual paper towels and no one was rushing for it. You know, it's like, what was that all about? Like, really? Okay. And there's still empty shelves everywhere, but I know there's an abundance of everything to go around, and that the period of wealth is returning to us where everything is in equal balance with one another. I honor you, you honor me, you honor my time, I honor your time. I know that I can give services to you with something that I may not have the money for it, but definitely we can barter with one another and exchange energy that way, that we put ourselves into each other's shoes. That even if your divine masculine has a different point of view about something, it doesn't mean that it's going against you. It works together and complements one another, you see? And it may be that it's not the same.
Well, definitely, because I know that, you know, exactly, it complements, because if they've got a different opinion or point of view, that's for us to not just say it has to be done this way or our way is the right way. It's for us to listen. So, you know, for in that union space to work together.
And your divine masculine may not necessarily speak up either. They may just be in action oriented, and that's okay too.
Yeah. This is the golden truth of time. Yeah, I love that.
Yes, it is the golden truth of time, because we're bringing that golden age, and you really do become golden inside, you know. And the gold is what we are going to be. I was having this deep conversation with Charlize and Brandon, because I told them, I said, one thing that Spirit was showing me too is that in the United States, what I call the divided states really, is where it's going to be separation of states, which I really don't like American history, but I do remember that time when they spoke about the separation of states. And I said the states are going to be individually, as things start to break down. I don't know the timing to this, but you're going to mark my word, this date that you hear me recording this, each state is going to represent themselves with their own power. Each state itself is going to work with the individuals. And guess who are the individuals? The twins. The twins. We are the ones that are grounding that new energy. And trust me when I tell you, the time is going to come where we are going to be recognized. We're going to be honored. It's that reverse cycle of when, you know, no one was listening, no one was paying attention, nobody understood. Oh, what's the twin soul? I don't know what that is. Oh, well, now you're going to know. Now you're going to know. And that's why my motto was, why are we holding back? Why are we hiding? This is the time to come out in the open. Come out wherever you are. Because that power that is being restored is just like that generator or something that's been sitting dormant, and the dust and the cobwebs have been there. And now it's like that system is restarting again. Okay? But it's in a different way. And that power.
How you said it the other day, it was so well put. When you said we were talking about light workers and twins and stuff, and you said Santa and the helpers.
Santa. Oh, yes. I said to Kellie, because we do talk a lot. Our conversation be like 10-minute, 20-minute voice notes. And she's like, oh dear, I think that went a little bit over what I wanted.
She takes off my accent all the time.
and then she'll still keep talking anyway. So like, what the fuck you saying for?
Hey, your voice is longer than mine.
No, you beat mine.
Occasionally.
And yesterday was the kicker though, because her Wi-Fi was messing up so much that she was trying to delete the voice because she didn't want it to be. Because I tease her, it's just a tease. I tease her because she thought it was too long, a 9-minute one. So she was trying to delete it. So that way, you know, because I asked her, because sometimes you're like, oh boy, I'm going to answer a question. She's going to take 20 minutes. But let me tell you, one of the things what I realized was so much in common with Kenna, because she too was also having to heal a wound of feeling that she was not heard. And so was I. So when she and I reconnected, I call it reconnected, I don't want to say when I met her, it felt so good to be able to talk and let my voice be heard, and that she was interested, not just hearing me, because anybody could say, oh, I hear you, and like, oh boy, you know, but this is where we were interested in hearing each other, what we had to say. And so usually there's that thing where, you know, women would say, oh, the man don't want to hear what I have to say. Oh, it's going to get ready to cut off. So if you're up to going on again, that's fine. If not, it's okay. 20,
Are you
19
going?
seconds. Huh? Yeah, it has like 17 seconds. Like, oh, it's countdown. Oh.
Are you going again?
If you're up to it, you know, I'd rather this than TV.
The long response, it helps. Okay, yeah, well, let's do this again.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be another hour, but we can do it.
Right. Knowing with me and Kelly, you